Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Hack the Box Ottawa Meetup. I'm JF, and I have my co-host, Steve. Yeah.
I was on mute.
There you
go. Hey, happy to be here for the third time around.
Yeah, we almost didn't get you. Like, you almost got stuck into traffic, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a bit of an accident around my parts. So, yeah, happy to be here. Lucky to be here.
That's all right. I mean, like, it happens. I would have been able to keep going and hopefully show up in the meantime. But you know what? Super happy to be here. There's lots of brand new people that are joining the stream. And there's still people that keep coming up and keep coming back. I mean, so it's very exciting for me to see that we're basically building up like a good core of people that wants to join in. So in the meantime, like what you need to know is you can join the Discord channel, right? Our Discord server. And if you join that, you get also access to those machines for free, right? So we're giving you access. Well, Hack the Box is basically providing you access for free to Authority and then 2 extra machines as well that you can hack tonight as well. So as we're doing it, feel free to request access. We have a good volunteer into our Discord server. His name is Alex. He's going to respond to you as soon as he can to be able to add you directly on that Discord server. So hopefully you're going to be able to enjoy it. So anything interesting on your side, Steve, that you'd like to share with the audience?
Oh, not a whole lot going on. Nothing outside of the world of crypto, I guess, for me right now. I'm entrenched in HSM duty and dealing with some cool post-quantum ready HSM and cryptography.
Interesting. That could be maybe an interesting topic to cover eventually.
Yeah,
I mean, it's great to be able to attack machines. It's probably the best core thing of what we can talk about for Hack the Box. But obviously, they took a blue perspective lately, and that's what we have to bring and talk about to the purple side of it. So as you can see, I have my background with my company, Purple. So trying as much as possible to get all that purple training out to you guys as much as possible. So that could be very interesting. The next thing I would like to, at least for me, that I'd like to add is I'm going to Atlanta over the weekend. So on the 28th of Jan up to the 30th. 31st, I'm going to Atlanta and meet the Hack the Box team. So that's going to be very interesting and trying to figure out how we can try to leverage their platform and bring it even further in Canada. So that's going to be very exciting. And there's also, on a side note, there's a strong possibility that Hack the Box, alongside with Malvik Security, we're going to go to CIS 2024. We're looking at all the things all together, and hopefully we can make it work. But CIS stands for the Cybersecurity and Identity Summit 2024, which is going to be happening in Ottawa. So if you need more information, cis2024.com. I could probably put it in the chat a little bit later on. So that could be something very interesting. Another piece that I'd like to add. Yeah, say again?
I said that's amazing to hear. Like, congrats on getting that booth.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good. Probably going to get even more, but I'll make an official announcement once everything is squared off. But it seems that it's heading in the right way with that organization. The next piece I want to cover is today. I mean, right now we have 7 people, but we're probably going to have more along the way. But you guys are going to be aware that eventually, as we're moving along with our session today, we're going to provide vouchers. So I currently have 3 VIP plus 1 month voucher, and then if I can recall it right, I'm going to have to double check, but it's a 1 VIP plus 12 months voucher. So throughout our session over here, we're going to try to distribute them as much as possible. Probably ask questions, and the first one to answer or something like that might get it. So we'll try to establish something in here to make sure you guys can get along that, get something interesting, but be involved as much as you can, and that's what's very great about it. So yeah, that's it for me. If you don't have anything, I don't see any comments over here on the channel. Maybe I'm gonna have to monitor as well the Discord server. Sorry, I got too many screens all over the place.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on Discord as well.
Sounds good. So normally we take as much as possible our comments through YouTube, but if you're on Discord, that's fine too. We're gonna figure it out a way to answer your questions as much as we can, right? So yeah, great. So I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else. Yeah, good. All right.
Awesome.
So
Let's kick it off.
again, yeah. I hear Discord like popping up. So I'm assuming people are like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. Whoops, my. I don't know why there's no thumbs down. It's probably my Max doing that. Let me deactivate that so you guys are not just like going nuts saying, what the hell is he doing with this? Or I'll do it later on. Hopefully I don't replicate this again. Mic mode. There we go, reaction. So perfect. So now you're not going to see all kinds of crazy stuff going out directly on my screen. Perfect. So authority. A machine that's driven a lot with LDAPs, like there's vulnerability there on LDAPs, there's vulnerability like on misconfiguration and stuff like that. And that's going to be interesting to see, like how important you think anything that has a relation to Active Directory, certificates and stuff like that. How do you think, more not how do you think, but what is your perspective here, Steve, on how important this is for an organization to be secure on that end?
Well, given that the majority of our protections are starting to move more towards identity, the most popular identity provider, is Active Directory or LDAP, using that protocol. So it's critical, right? It's
Yeah.
The more and more people say, hey, you can just connect your app to our Active Directory, means that's just another pound of pressure on making sure that your Active Directory is actually, tight. Your config is tight.
Exactly. So we're going to see one machine that's very interesting, and we can leverage exactly those vulnerabilities in place. And hopefully you can follow along with your own machine. And if you have any questions along the road, just feel free to ask them. Okay. So in the meantime, I'm going to start my stuff over here, and then, okay. Oops, add to stage. There we go. And then we're going to start kicking this off a little bit, right? So I guess we'll see you a little bit later, Steve.
Sounds good.
All right. All right, like any machine, when we start this, okay, we have to figure it out. And as you can see here on top, we're improving our instrument a little bit, right? So we're gonna have a little bit more overlays and trying to understand where we're at, right? So those steps are key. Probably eventually I could select the cyber kill chain. That could be another thing too I could actually do. But for now, let's do with enumeration. In this case here, I already started my machine. I already started everything. So we're good to go to be able to start hack. If you're wondering what is this for some of the people that are new, this is basically Parrot OS, right? It's provided by Hack the Box, which they call it themselves Pwnbox, right? So if you need to get access, you're going to see me actually running a Mac, right? Being able to stream with you, being able to do everything. And then I don't have VMware. I don't have like VirtualBox. I don't need to be savvy about it. The only thing I need to know is I click on the link to be able to get this machine to start up. And then I'm already inside the Hack the Box environment, right? So it's easy enough and I don't have to do anything else. The only thing is that you need to think about is the fact that those machines, whenever you stop them, they will revert back to what they were. So if you can take notes, like for me, I take notes in general into OneNote. There's other softwares out there so that you can take a look. They could be doing a better job than OneNote, but this is the one I chose. This is the one also I used when I did my OSCP. So either way. Others, like I know, I think Alex, that's over here with us, use Obsidian, I believe, with Markdown's type of, what's it called, a notepad kind of deal, if you understand what I mean. So that's something that can be done. But either way, if you can use that, use it. You stop the machine, it will revert. But if you have your notes on the outside, that's going to be good to go. It's not going to be an issue at all. Okay, so like we do usually, we have to conduct an nmap. Okay, so in this case here, we're going to do nmap, and I'm gonna do it a little bit differently. Whoops, that's it didn't copy, I guess. It copied the link that you have to go sign up. So if you haven't signed up, just go sign up. Okay. All right, so we have the IP over here. That's going to be the machine that we're going to be attacking, or at least I'm going to be attacking. Yours might differ, right? Because we're not in the same network directly. So from this case here, we're seeing a bunch of different ports. We're expecting that if we have LDAP, if we have Active Directory enabled into that machine, then we're going to have a bunch of different ports that are going to be served for something. One of the main one that we see here, it's one of the most important port is port 80, right? And so it's probably one of the first one we're going to start taking a look at. Would you be able to make the terminal size a little bit bigger? Let's see. Yes, let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Maybe what I can do is I can probably change, is it profile, edits, command, background, title, oh, no, use column, no. Sorry, I did not look at that. I just want to make sure that you guys can see. Otherwise, I'll just change the size of my screen. It's probably going to be helping out. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. All right. Probably what, 15? Select. There we go. Is it better? I think that should be a little bit better. This way. Either way, I'll keep going. If it's not better, let me know, Ruben. Thank you very much for letting me know. I want to make sure everyone can see this. All right, so yeah, so port 80 is one of those main ones that we're going to have to take a look at. So very interesting. Port 88, Kerberos, right? So at this point, we already know that this is LDAP we're going to have to face. So that could potentially be including Kerberos that we have to take a look at. We have also which port 389, which is again another port for LDAP. We have the secure LDAP over here, still very small. Oh, sorry. Okay. Let's see if I can make it happen. If it's too small, I guess I should probably, okay, let me just change the resolution of that screen. That's probably going to be helping out. Thank you very much. I apologize for that. All right, let's go to screen or display. Display over here. There we go. That should be good. Probably a little bit too big. I'll just trim it down to what it was over here. 12. Select. Does it look better? Hey, high time. Yeah, I pressed on control and it was not improving. So as you can see here, if I click in the background, it's control and scroll up and down. This one does not offer this possibility. So it's not working. This one here, whoops, maybe I should just get out of here. So see, it's not working. I press the Alt and control. So they're not, like this one does not work with this on the Parrot terminal. But right now it should be fine, right? Yeah, okay, so I see that you have it. Perfect. So let's leave it like that, and then we'll make it work for sure. I want to make sure you guys can do it. So I changed a couple of things, and that happens sometimes. We don't get it right 100%. So thank you very much for your feedbacks to both of you. Perfect. All right, so now we have, again, we have port 80. We can check. We have also the LDAP, LDAP SSL over here. So that's the version of LDAP 389 on this port, right? But we're looking more at a secure one, okay? Perfect. So, and then we have another HTTPS, okay? So the one that we could be the most interested in, we could dive in a little bit more. So we're gonna look for the scripts, and we're also going, well, default scripts, and also we're gonna look for versioning on some of the ports, right? So the ports that, to me, are the most appealing could be, for example, 53. I mean, like, you could differ from one person to another. Again, it goes with experience. So don't just think that I have the absolute answer over here, right? just go with exactly what you think might be the right thing. If you're not sure, just do them all. At this point around, we're looking at a machine that's made by Hack the Box, right? It's vulnerable. It's made for you to learn about it. So just like do as much as you can with it. Obviously, towards the machine. Don't don't attack the firewalls or anything like that from Hack the Box, because otherwise you might be in trouble. Okay, so here we have eight eights. We can add probably 139. We could possibly 445, which is SMB. Our next one, 593, then 8443. Let's go with these ones, 8443. Let's take a look at that. So the only thing that we're going to do now, and why I'm doing it this way, is to be able to not query the top 1000, because by default, if you can remember, Nmap will query the top 1000 ports. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to try to dim it down. It's not going to do a discovery. It's not going to try to figure it out if a new port is open. We're going to look at those ports specifically. Okay, so I'm going to press enter. So another thing too, in the meantime, that we can do to expedite a little bit our process over here is we can go and do another Nmap. Okay, let's do this like that. We're going to do another Nmap, but in this case, we're going to do all the ports. Okay. So all the ports would be as such. So we're going to do a dash, attack, P, and then another dash, right? So basically the goal for this one is to be able to query all the ports and see which one is open. Because when you're doing your reconnaissance, right? You're going to do the Nmap initially. You're going to look for those top 1000 ports, but there's a lot of times they're going to be hidden on the top ports. It doesn't mean that, but it's good practice to do it. And as you're trying to elevate your progress towards making things even better with your hacking methodology and so on, you want to try, especially if you want to do the USCP exam, you want to try to maximize your time as much as possible. If one tool is doing something, try to do something else at the same time. So we're going to do that and let it run in the background in the meantime. Okay, and then we're going to come back here to the results that we have. Let's take a look over here. Okay, so from here we have the simple DNS plus. Not much to tell us. There's no versioning, nothing pretty much. We have port 80, could potentially have something, obviously, but it seems to be just the IIS server. Nothing too crazy. Could be just like a base one. We're going to check it out a little bit later. But Kerberos, we have the time. That can be interesting for the time, trying to see if we're synchronized with them. We have also port 8443, right? HTTPS, that's how it seems. And what do we get over here? So there's a bunch of different things over here, but nothing like too major, like 400 and 200, like nothing that really like stands out other than there is, let's say, a /PWN pwn, or PWN is probably for another system or something like that. Who knows? Web application. So we need to find this out a little bit. What else? Do we have anything that's over here? I don't know. So there's nothing really in here that seems to be pointing out. So what our next step will be is to start taking a look at that, right? So let's go take a look at port 80 in this case. So we have over here, we're going to take this. Another thing that we can do as well is we can add this into our host, okay, to make it a little bit easier this way. So we're going to do a sudo nano. Nano. I'm going to use this one. We could have used them. It's the same thing almost, right? And we're going to go into etc host. So for those that don't remember what it is, a host is basically a file where our browser will check first to see where it needs to go initially, right? Before it goes a little bit further. So in this case here, if we decide that we want to put our IP address and then authority in this case, because this is the machine we're attacking. Now, if we use authority.htb directly into our browser, we should be redirected directly to that IP address. Okay, so that's a way to simplify this. And if you want to be able to use it to go to subdomains, that's going to be another way as well to do that. You're going to have to do it, otherwise it's not going to work. Obviously, for others like subdomain, if you find them, you're gonna have to start adding them up over here. So if it's, let's say, I don't know, sub.authority.htb, well, you have to just come here and add it up. You do a space and you add it, and that's fine, right? So a little bit like you can see over here, right? So that's one, there's a space, and then that's the second one. So fairly similar to this, but like in this case, that's going to be here, right? So maybe we're going to have to do it later on. Either way, let's save this for now. So now we can use authority to go there. And let's come over here. Let's start our Firefox. In this case, we're going to do HTTP / authority. Can't write right now. HTTP, and we're port 80, so we don't need to enter anything else because we're HTTP. So by default, it should go there, right? Okay, so it went to HTTPS. There's not much. If I do just the, do I have the IP? I just have the IP. Well, the IP is going to bring me to this. That's the IIS that we saw earlier. So not much we can do about it. Let's give it a try to port 8443. We're going to have to put, because we saw it was SSL, we need to put HTTPS, okay, // We could put authority.htb, that would work. This one would work as well. Okay, so it's not an issue. So in this case, because this is not signed by a CA, which is a, what's called again, authority, certificate authority, right? Because it's not directly signed by them, like a trusted one by the platform. Like for example, here we have Firefox. This is why we're going to get this. But obviously, we know it's fine. It's not an issue. And also, that's not my machine. So that's basically the machine there. We're experimenting. It's hacked the box, and we know it should be under control. It should be fine. Okay, so we're going to accept the risk and continue. However, if it's on your side and you're doing it on your own, if you see a website that says that, I would be cautious about going on that website unless you trust and you know what it is. Some information you could also get as we're moving along, right? We could take a look and find more information about the certificate, right? So view certificate over here, and we can try to start digging. If we see that the certificate has been done before, I mean, like maybe in the last couple of days, we could be wondering. In this case, we know we basically just started a machine or something like that, so that's not going to be an issue. We know it's controlled by Hack the Box, and I just started it. So if somebody decided to take the IP earlier as I was speaking and go in there and change the whole thing, well, props to you. But I do not recommend doing it. Okay. So, all right. So basically, what's happening? So yeah, that's possible that I've done just a little typo over there. So it's not going to be an issue. So thank you very much for your comment there. So basically, right now we're going to go back. We know everything should be fine. We are going to accept the risk over here, and we're going to move further. Okay. So the website should be showing up very soon. In the meantime, well, it should be showing up. Oh, there you go. Okay, I should have read probably the little thing there. I clicked by by habit. So either way, so now we know we have a website. It seems to be leading to something interesting. So we're going to take a look a little bit afterwards, right? What's on that website? I'm just going to take a look because I know in the background it seems to be fine. Okay. Sorry, the scan that we ran seems to be fine, and we have a little bit more information. We have a port 47,001 with RM. The other ports we are not sure, but normally those ports are not really important. Global cat LDAP. So maybe later on that's something we're going to take a look at. Okay. In the meantime, we have a website, and I can tell you, normally when you see a website, you could be like very, very interested into what's going on. So we're going to do admin. We're going to try admin as well. Okay. Enter this over here. So don't save. See directory unavailable. If this error occur repeatedly, please contact your service desk or your help desk. We see also here it's been provided. Like normally you would see that on the inside, not necessarily on the outside. So we know which service is being utilized, like which username actually is being utilized. So that's one thing. We see the OU, right? That's a service account. Well, that's part of service account. We see corp, authority, and then HTB. So we see a little bit of information that we could, technically speaking, later on decide to use, right? So that's one thing. Like if I was me going and moving with this, I would copy it and then put it, let's say, on a notepad over here, right? So I can reference myself a little bit later. Communication exception, authority. Oh, see, so 636, that's LDAP SSL, right? So we could see authority.authority.htb. So it seems to be going to that route. So that's something eventually we're going to have to take a look. And you know what? For the sake of it, we could just go back into the same spot. And like I was telling you earlier, we're going to do the same thing, right? We're going to go back over here and add it to our host file. Paste it there. And then we're going to Control X to exit. We're going to save it with Y and then press Enter. Okay. Enter is better, better than Shift. All right, good to go. So now we have a little bit more information. That could be interesting to go take a look at that. So that's another thing too. I would maybe poke a little bit around and see if there's anything interesting. Okay, so in this case, if you get this, right, don't forget to put your HTTP colon // and then paste it there, right? If you forget to do your HTTP, it's going to bring you to Google. Obviously, in this case, because this is a retired machine, you're going to have access to maybe some of the write-ups. But our goal is to do it without write-ups in general, if we can. But obviously, on other cases, if you want to, you can practice with it. And what we want to do right now, it's not giving us much in this case, right? We could, like, there's another thing too. Like, is there anybody here that knows what else we could use that would be helpful for us to be able to, I don't know, like we see here, and we're trying to figure out the structure of the directories. Is there anybody here that knows exactly which tool we could use to be able to take a look at the structure and see which file are there and how can we try to maneuver around and see what's there? I'll let you guys answer. Durbuster. That's a good one. Is there another one that we can use? One that's a little bit more like command lines terminal. All right, so here it's not working. I could do admin 123. I could do that. That's not working. I could do password. Oops. Is there one that could work on the terminal? That's a good question. A little tip here, it start with G if you guys are looking for one. I'll let you think about it. So, okay, here we can come over here. Oh, there's like a service PWN, that's user. There's a little bit more information over here. There's a password. Password. Let's try that. So that's the common stuff we normally try, right? It doesn't mean it's gonna work, but we're trying it anyway. Yes, Go Buster. There you go. You got it, Ruben. That's exactly the one I was looking for. Yeah, Go Buster. Yeah, Fuff. That's another good one. In fact, Fuff, there is an actual, like on the Hack the Box Academy, there's an actual module dedicated for that. So if that's something you're interested in, there's lots of stuff you can do with it. So obviously you can try to take a look for specific folders and files and the likes, but you also can use it for kind of brute forcing some other stuff. So the subdomain I was talking about, FUF can actually use it, do it. So that's another thing to consider. So all good answers to you, all of you guys. Perfect. We're warming up the audience. I like it. Okay, so take a look here. So that's me basically, right? That's connected over here. So there's not much. I could also go into the background. Another thing to keep in mind, like view page source, we can go take a look at what's in the back and then maybe see some of the code that could be very interesting for us, right? So let's take a look real quick. Do we see something interesting? Password incorrect, please try again. So that's the message that we just got. That's coming here. We see the code a little bit over here. Sometimes we can see something that seems to be like not obvious, but obvious at the same time. As soon as you see it, you're like, ah, I wish I knew. Spend an hour or two doing something else and then realize that it was so simple. So there's not much over here we're going to find. Okay, so that's the thing. If we go back and do, let's say, cancel, we go to the configuration. So it's the same thing pretty much. Configuration manager. Oh, it's a little bit different, but not by much. So right off the bat, obviously with this page, it's somewhat of a disappointment because there's nothing. One thing we could try to do, because we saw it's PWM, right? It was that PWM password self-services. The next thing we can do is we could come here, we paste it here, then we do exploit, right? And then DB, and I press enter. We can take a look. Obviously, we don't have the actual version. At least I didn't see it earlier. Maybe it was somewhere, but I didn't see the version. So if we don't see the version, it's going to be hard for us to go a little bit further, right, and find out if our version is actually an issue. We could use maybe another software like similar to Nikto. We could have, let's say, another thing similar to, what is it called again? I forgot the name of it. Nessus, right? That could be one. Rapid7 with, I'm losing my words over here. Rapid7. I'm sure Stevie's like, yeah, I know it. You can do it, Jeff. Shit. Sorry, my language, but I completely forgot what it is. But you have Nessus, and you have another one that's completely forgot about it. That will do vulnerability assessment. So yeah, Expose. There we go. Thank you. So, saved by Steve. Yeah, so there you go. So all those ones could potentially help you out, but then it doesn't mean 100% you're going to find exactly what you need. But obviously, they're going to take a look at what you have in place, do a little bit of probes here and there, and find out. Zap, Steve, can you answer that? Zap, I'm not too sure 100%. If you can answer directly in Discord about Zap, if that's a good one, I can't remember. So that could be potentially another one interesting. Zap is great for web vulnerability scanning. There you go. So we're currently doing some web stuff. So maybe our Steve later on, whenever we're going to talk about blue side, he's probably going to talk about that too. Maybe a software or something like that can be used to take a look at these things. So, all right. Thank you very much for everyone participating. So, okay, let's go back to what we're actually doing over here. So there's not much over here straight up we're going to find. We went over here. I can tell you we're going to go a little bit like in depth. We could be heading up into a rabbit hole because most of the time for us, like when we're learning, we're trying to figure it out. Okay, I see a web application. It must be vulnerable. Is that the case really, right? Maybe there's other avenues that we can go and take a look at. Okay, so that's exactly where we're going to go. The other ports that, if you can guys remember, the other ports that we had that was open to us, and we kind of skipped it because we went for the browser initially, right? Which is this one. It's port 445. Port 445 SMB. So yeah, OpenVAS is a good one. Drew, yeah, you were right for an expose. Thank you very much. But OpenVAS is another one, and that one, it's free. It's coming basically by the people at Tenable, like Nessus. They used to have the same thing, and then eventually they make that up, right? To make sure it's free. Maybe we can ask Steve his little input later on to get this done, not to get this done, but to have some sort of interesting perspective on his side. Because I think he worked at Tenable at one point, or at least with the company, to be able to do a couple of things. So we might be able to pick his brain a little bit later. All right, good. So yeah, port 445 SMB used to be able to access files in this case. Okay, so in our case over here, what we're going to do is we're going to use this one. That might be a little bit confusing, huh? Let's move this one down. Whoops, not down, I mean. And then use only this. Okay, so we're gonna do SMB client, okay? And we're gonna figure it out what we have on this machine. Capital L and authority, yeah, authority.htb. Okay, let's give it a try like that. I do normally with the IP, but I think it should work. All right, so now we have the password for this. In this case, we have no idea what the password is, right? So we're just going to press enter, and by pressing enter, it's like we're logging in anonymously. So if we press enter and it works and we see data, it's because on the other end, anonymous login is enabled. And I'm quite sure that our great friend Steve is going to say that if you do that mistake, you're opening up to the world to be able to find all kinds of stuff, right? So in this case here, we're seeing it. We're seeing that there is shares available over here. Are they writable? Are they accessible? We don't know just yet, but there's nothing that stops us from being able to do it, right? So in our case here, our query will change slightly. We're going to connect to that SMB. So I'm going to erase it. And over here, I got to do it 4 times. Okay, so 4 backslashes. The reason behind is there's one escaping the other one, something like that. And then after that, we're going to do the same thing again, 2 backslash. And what we can do is we can try to start with the first one. Okay, so that's a disk. In general, those ones are not really accessible, right? So to me, by seeing this, I could technically give it a try because you never know what can happen. But that would be here my first one I would take a look at. Okay, I have no idea what the password is. So it says network status, bat network name. Okay, so this one does not work. Maybe we can, oh yeah, that's one thing. There's a space. There's a space and you do it, it looks like department only, right? Enter, enter. There we go. So now we have access. Denied listing, LS. Do we have, I did the question mark to help. So is there anything else I can take a look at, right? All info. There's nothing really over here. Schmod, no. Maybe like CD admin, I could potentially do. Access denied. Yeah, sure. So in this one, I mean, like I could try to go along. I could also take a look on hack another place. It's Actrix and SMB enumeration potentially could work. So Hacktrix, very good place to go take a look at. And we're going to take a look here. So maybe we're going to have some command or tools or something like that to be able to take a look at this one specifically. But I'll be honest with you, there's nothing in this one. But let's see if there's anything else that could be interesting into their stuff that we could use. So we see here we have a bunch of that. Yeah, look, we could even like use enum for Linux, enum for Linux to be able to take a look at some of the information on our machine. Crap map exec, no, that's something we could use later on, but we need more information. That's not something we're going to be able to do just yet. SMB map. So CSMB map, again, it's like they're asking for information we still don't have. So we're not going to be able to do more. Like no pass. See, that's a flag we could have used. If you omit the password, it will be prompted, right? So there's a bunch of different things. So that's another way that we could have done it, right? But in this case here, like I said, there's nothing. So our next obvious place we're going to go is the next one in line, right? I'll just come back over here, development, okay? And then go back down, paste it here, and do enter. Enter again, we're anonymous. So now let's do a dir. Oh, now we see information over here, right? So we see automation. So CD automation. I press tab to be able to autocomplete, press enter, and do another dir. I see Ansible. Okay, that's interesting. So CD, Ansible, and then dir. I mean, like at that point, I could go everywhere, right? So it's kind of a pain in the ass. And Do I really want to keep going and keep doing it? Well, obviously, yes, that could be something very interesting, but using the SMB client and go back and forth with this sometimes is not the way that you like to be able to do it. So what we're going to do to be able to extract all that stuff and be able to review it offline, because we're just going to take a look at it once. We're going to minimize as much as possible all the information that's that could be gathered twice. So if we do, like, we navigate all over the place, if there's, let's say, a scene, security information event management that take a look at all the traffic that goes through, right? That could be something that picks it up. Obviously, exfiltrating a large amount of data, that could also be an issue. In our case, we don't really mind, but we're going to simplify things. So I'm going to exit this, right? And I have a command over here that's a little bit different. So obviously, there's a lot more stuff. And probably that command, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste it into Discord. Okay, so you guys can actually use it. We're going to do authority .htb. I may have to do extra slashes. So let's copy this and put it into Discord. Okay, so if you are not on Discord, I highly recommend to go take a look at it over there. So press enter. There we go. Okay, so that's the actual command that I'm going to run, and what's going to be happening is it will not ask me for a prompt, right? It will just go recurse and basically get all the content of what I have. The only thing that I just realized I forgot to do is this is going to authority SMB content, right? So that's something that you have to keep in mind. I don't know if it's going to create the files. Let's give it a try. There, the folders I meant. So there we go. So as you can see here, I basically just entered this. I did nothing else, and all events should have downloaded. So if I do it ls-la, press enter, I see the .x authority automation. So we see automation on top. Maybe that's not the right place to do it. I should have make a dir authority. Let's do that again. Just authority. So city authority, and then let's replicate this. Obviously, if you're trying to be stealth, you're not going to do that twice. And then now we can go to automation. There's that. For some people, I mean, like, I prefer this way. Some other people prefer the other way around. There's two right things to do, and it'd be, let's say, to go directly like this way. So authority, automation, Ansible, and then now you can start taking a look at the folders, right? You can see the structure, how they're being done. You can take a look at on the inside, what's the requirement, what's in there, right? Like for me, I mean, that's how I do it. Most of the time, obviously, sometimes you're not going to be able to do that. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to do it this way. So you just do a cat, or you do a head or a tail, right? Head is basically just like the first couple of lines that should be showing up, and tail is going to be the last couple of lines that are going to be showing up, right? So close. Okay, cancel. I just want to close this one over here. Okay, so we can keep going. Take a little look. We have default over here, main. Is there? Oh, there's a passphrase, super secret. Interesting. So that's something we're going to have to keep in mind. So now we can see the actual file, if there's anything interesting. So is it going to be interesting? Maybe not, because these ones seems to be very generic. But this one here, that's the password being used for the CA key. So that could be interesting. Yeah, so I'm just going to take this one, copy it, and then bring it up again to my notes, because that could be very interesting to go deep into it. Is there anything else that could be interesting? I don't think so from this guy. So, okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to go back into our folders. Could take a meta, main. Is there anything else over here? No. So these things here could take a long time, right? To just go back and forth and figure it out if there is something interesting. And in our case, pretty much right now, we haven't found anything. And going through that, that can be a pain in the ass. Another way that could have been, you guys could have been able to do it, right? If I can remember it right, otherwise we'll just Google it, is grep, capital R, and if I can remember, it's gonna do a grep on all the files recursively. So we could look for a password, right? If I can remember. So there you go. So if I do a grep and I do password, it's gonna go through every file in here and try to take a look for a specific thing, right? So maybe there's something somewhere that could be very interesting, right? And we could maybe see a little bit faster, but there's no guarantee we're going to find something right away, right? So I'll make it a little bit bigger over here. See robot, password, Tomcat roots. That's a template, so most likely not very interesting. Is there anything else? PW admin. Okay. PWM admin could be interesting to take a look at that file. Maybe there's something. Oh, that's a README. So maybe not. So it seems that there is nothing really like of interest that much. And I mean, like, it is normal. Another thing too we can do is we could also do a what's it called, a tree, right? Like from there we can see the structure, so all of them all together, right? So a tree. If you guys watch videos from Kid Boga and the scammers and stuff like that, tree is one of the tools that they use quite often to try to scare people off with it. But in this case, we know exactly what we're doing. We're looking for files that could potentially be helpful, right? So maybe in the PWN could be interesting. There's a config file there that we could take a look at. We're going to probably do something like this. All right, so let's go back to Ansible PWN, and then let's take a look at the config file. Is there anything here? Nope, nothing so far. Ansible inventory. There's 5985 WinRM. I really like that one. Whenever I see it and I have credentials or just like or Ansible user and password, Ansible port. That's something that could be interesting to give it a try. Like if I see something like this, I would probably think about it twice. So let's do that. Let's copy it and put it into our notes. Because to me, I mean, like that could be like very plausible that welcome one has been left for administrator. I mean, it could be that, but the other thing too to keep in mind, it could be also a different user, right? So in this case here, we can just leave it there as a note and then come back later on, gather all our ideas, keep going, and then eventually try all the ideas that we have. So basically, in fact, trying to get the lowest hanging fruit in this case, right? So okay, we're gonna go back over here and say, well, we have default over here. We have main. Oh, main has a bunch of stuff here that seems to be very interesting, right? So we have admin login vault. Ansible, we have PWN admin password. So it seems like it's a hash AES256 from the Ansible vault. So that could be very interesting. Okay, so that's something we're gonna have to take a look at and see. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take those files and I think we're gonna create a new one over here and then just paste it here. And this one here is for PW admin login. Okay, that's very interesting. I think we're gonna have to keep them in mind over here. Oops, wrong one. Let's go back over here, and now we have the other Ansible. So do you guys have any idea what we could do with it in this case? Yes, probably you thought about it. We could go on the internet and we found credentials for the Ansible Vault, and we're going to try to see if there is something out there that could help us find the information. I need to close this. So Ansible Vault. vote hash convert, maybe. Volt hash extractor, that's something we can take a look at, maybe. Secret with hashcat. So see here, see the Ansible converting, Ansible to John, credentials Volt. So the way that they're doing it, it needs to be either on one line or at least same type of thing. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to give it a try and convert it to John the Ripper. If you guys know what John the Ripper it is, we'll figure that out very soon. Okay, so the best thing to do is when we see something like this is they need to be on one line. Right now they're separated by spaces. Okay, so that's could potentially be an issue. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to save it and going to go directly to our home authority and put here volt or volts. So all my all the hash that we have are going to be into that location where we were, right? Then let's get back over here. Let's do LSLA. We should see them here. Good, cats and volt. Perfect. We see them here. The next step, like I said, is to, I mean, like what we could do it manually, right? The same way that I showed you, not showed you, like from here in the Volt. Whoops. In the Volt, I could just come here and delete the whole thing and then do the whole thing all around. Obviously, if we're able to maximize our return on investment on time, sometimes we can come up with special special way. Okay, so we have said the I, and then we're going to see exactly what it does here. So it will basically remove the blank space. If we do the I, it's going to do it directly in place. If we remove the I, it will show us how it's going to look like, right? So now we see how it looks like. We could either, if we wanted to, push it to, let's say, volts 2, basically, right? And do a cat volt 2. And now we see that they're all moved into one spot, okay? So I'm going to put it into Discord so you guys have that specific one. You can see it's going to remove the dead space. Okay, I need to recopy that line because it decided that they wanted to take something else. There we go, copy. So Discord channel, if you need that command there, it's going to be there in a second. There we go. Perfect. So that command will basically strip up everything that's there. The thing is, right now, I don't know if it's going to react well because we have 3 different hash, right? So there's a possibility that it may create an issue, okay? So let's take a look over here. We may have to remove that. Obviously, like this one is not accurate anymore. Quit without saving. But that's something we're going to take a look at. Our next step, if we go back to cracking with Ansible, the way that he was doing it, it's Ansible to John. It gets the actual file and then output the information to hash. Okay, so obviously they're telling us a way to be able to do it. Do we have to abide by that? No, we don't have to have the same type of naming convention. We can name it the way we want it, so which is fine. And we have, if you have parent, right, Ansible to John, you're going to see it's going to show up right away. If I hit tab after Ansible 2 and then press tab, John is going to show up. So now we have volts, and it's volts 2. And let's say we're going to do the evolution. We're going to go to the next version, volts 3 in this case. Okay. This one does not work. No hexadecimal found. I think, oh yeah, I think is there anything else that we needed to do over here? Did it tell us how it is? No, this one was fine. It's possible that we have too many. Let's remove this. Okay, so it's not working, and that's fine. Like, I mean, it's possible that it won't work directly. So let's do it a little bit different. So now we're gonna go back into our file that we had here. We just need to open it. Can I create another tab? Yes. Let's go back to Malvik, automation, authority, and we have Vault 3. There's nothing in it, and we saw that. And let's give it a try with, let's say, this one here. No, let's start with the first one. That'd probably be better. Copy. It's possible that we need to put them on all the one lines, right? So we'll figure that out very soon if that's something that needs to be done before we do it, right? Don't have a choice but to give it a try first sometimes, and then learn sometimes the hard way. Okay, so then just create a new one. We're going to paste it here and Control S, save it, and let's call it just Vault 1 in this case. So there's no S. We're going to say Vault 1 for the first key that we had, and just press Enter. Okay, save it there. Let's go back over here to our Vault 1, and let's do to Vault 1.1. Does it work? Cats Vault 1.1. Okay, there we go. So see, it did the conversion. So before we used to have this old text over here, all right? And then we converted it into the Ansible one, like Ansible to John. So John can actually take a look and find out exactly what it is, right? So I guess this is the step that we need to take to be able to make it work. So we're gonna repeat that 2 more times with the other ones to make sure it actually work and we're able to see what's going on. For some reason, the screen changed. Need to concatenate. So this is the comment here that KidQuick23 said. So you could do it, but necessarily you don't have to actually do it. So it's up to you to decide if that's something you like to do. But this is possible that you may need to do it in certain cases. In our case right now, we don't. So we're good to go. It's just because there was too many in there, and I'm assuming and needed it. Maybe you look. You know what? Let's give it a try. If I put them 2 in one line and I press enter, is it going to work? I mean, there's multiple ways to get something right, and that could be very interesting to take a look at. All right, so let's go back here and see. Let's take a look. I'll just finish this first, right? And then after that, we'll try to concatenate them. There we go. Okay, good. Now we take this one here. We're going to create a new file, paste it here, save it, but we're going to name it Vault 2, enter. And well, Vault 2, we don't need it. Vault 1, we don't need it anymore. This one here, we can take it and save it there. Create a new one, paste it there. We're going to save it and then go back to Vault 3, enter. Okay, good. So the next step that we have to do is, again, we go back to our vaults and also to our Ansible to John, and I'm just going to rename it like that, right? Because this is the naming convention I chose. Again, you choose to do whatever you want. That's fine, as long as you understand yourself in this case, okay? So I press enter. If I do a cat vault 22, so we're good. A cat vault 33. So now we have all of them working together, right? So it's going to be fine and it's going to work. Okay, so our next step is going to be cracking it, right? So we need to crack that. Okay, so what I'm going to say is for a 1 month VIP plus, what is the other tool we can use beside John to be able to crack this one? The first one to say it will get the 1 month at the end of the stream. Tick tock, tick tock. The first line I see there that seems to be pointing out to the first person. So I'm going to use John myself, but Ashcat, there we go. I saw, whoops. Okay, there you go. No, not this. This. There you go. Sorry. This is the first comment I see right now, and NJUT N95. Give it to someone else. Okay, well, I'll give it to the next person then. Drew Ross. That's the second person that's had the Hashcat. Correct. So if you want it, contact me directly on Discord. I'm Malvik, right? So just like send me a text, and then I'll give it to you at the end of the presentation over here. All right, so let's take a look at the rest of it. Okay, so we're gonna do a John. The only thing is with John, and that's an issue, is right now, right off the bat, there is a little issue because we see Vault 2, we see Vault 3, we see the other Vault. So I'm gonna show you the reason why that's an issue. But at the same time, like we're gonna see it's super easy to be able to do that. Right now I have Vault 1, okay? I'm gonna go after a word list equal, this one, okay, I don't want Canadian French. We're gonna go to USR / share, I believe, and then word list. And then we have rocku.txt. Have you guys heard the reason why we have rocku.txt? I'm quite sure a lot of you knows this file, this dictionary attack. Well, sorry, this type of dictionary, which is like found almost everywhere. Have you guys heard about the story behind it? Why we have that specific name, Rocku? It's not because it's to be able to rock the passwords necessarily. It used to be an actual company before. Have you guys heard about the story of it? All right, so I'm going to press enter in the meantime. While I'm waiting for you guys to tell me if you heard, if you like the story, or what you got out of that story. If you don't, I'll give you some references if you don't know about it. In the meantime, what we do is, we have to wait, but right now it seems that we already have our password for this guy, right? So we already seen this. So it seems to be working with this one. So I may not have to change anything after all. Let's take a look at 2. Are we going to get anything? So nobody knows about the story of Rocku? I think it's a fascinating story, kind of. I can probably point you out exactly in the right direction on where to find that story if you don't know. But I'll give you in a nutshell. I'd like to know the reason for the name Rocku. Okay, good. So the Rocku used to be a company that was like very prevalent into the market space, especially let's say on Facebook and the likes, right? And you remember at the time when Facebook, yeah, it's a very good story. So you remember at the time where Facebook was letting people install apps, and then you had to give access to your platform, basically, or to the Facebook platform, and give your consent and all that stuff. Well, the thing is, the Rocku company was actually taking all the information that was going in, right, and then storing that information to their database. The thing is, eventually somebody was able to get access to it and found a bunch of information for all those users. And one of the main thing was passwords, right? Passwords were there. Password for platforms like Facebook and the likes, right? And they were in clear text. They were not even hashed. They were not like even anything like that. So there is a very, very good podcast if you guys are interested. It's called Darknet Diaries, and I need to find. I think it's episode 29 or something like that. Its name is Rocku. I can probably find it. If somebody knows, feel free to share it. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you, Steve, for sharing this on Darknet Diaries Rocku. And if you want to know all the information about it, that's what it is. But it's driven from a actual database of the company that got hacked, right? So that's the reason why we have that right now. It seems to be working against a lot of different password that's out there. Okay, so same password for number for Vault 22. Okay, so that's good. And congrats, Steve, for achieving level 1 in Discord. All right, so let's go. Vault 33, which is good. Okay, We'll see if we have anything going on over here. Okay, so we have show display. Okay, I'm gonna have to accelerate a little bit because we may have somebody that will join us very soon as well. That could be very interesting to know his thoughts and so on if he's able to make it. All right, so now we actually did this. We were able to get some information. Sorry, not information, but we were able to get that. So we might be able to decrypt what was like the information that was actually in there because we're able to find the password behind the whole thing. So let's try to do a decrypt. Okay, are we able to decrypt it if we have an actual password? I should probably just use the same tab, the same one instead of starting at thousands. Like if you guys know me at work, you're going to see that I have like a million tabs on top. I'm not quite sure that some of you might be the same deal as me. So decrypt, Ansible, Volt, hash. Are we able to find something real quick? A string Ansible 2.2, maybe. Do we have anything? So that's necessary cookies only. Okay. Ansible, my server. Do we have anything here that's going to tell us? Ansible up. So we have the value here, and we have Ansible Volt decrypt, and it says exactly where it's at. So it's probably something we should take a look. So normally that's what it is. If we decrypt it with all the information, we might be able to get exactly what we're looking for. And we see here Volt password Fred, decryption successful. So, okay, so that's what we're going to do. The only thing is even though we want to do that right now, we have an issue. Because if I do, let's say, cat Volt 1, for example, and then pipe it to Ansible, Ansible Volt, I think. Volt. I think it's probably a dash. So I have like nothing that goes along that. It's only John that goes there. So that's an issue, right? And we don't have basically Ansible Vault in our case, or at least like something to be able to do it. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to go get what we need to decrypt it. So we're going to do a sudo, then not app, but pip3. And pip3 is for Python 3, right? So that's going to be to add modules there to make it work just fine, exactly to what we would like to achieve. Okay, so then now we're going to go to install Ansible, and that's Volt here. And I'm going to press enter and just wait a little bit for the installation to go through. Whenever we're going to be done, we're going to be able to move forward a little bit faster. All right, taking a couple of seconds. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we have, where's it at? Okay, so I got to do my stuff again. Cat, Volt, 1, and we're going to pipe it to Ansible Volt, I can't remember, Volt decrypt. And I'm going to do a enter. The Volt password is the one we just had earlier, right? That's the one over here. That's the password that we want. Copy. And then paste it there. Perfect. Enter. Decryption password. Okay, so what we just decrypted is this. Okay, so that's not exactly what we wanted. Okay, so I just copied the password again. Not password, but I overridden my password. C. Oh, see, there's people even applauding for you on Discord. There you go. That's good. All right, let's keep going because our special guest is arriving. So Carl is in the back. He's going to wait for us a couple of minutes as I'm finishing to present this part, and then we're going to see him very soon. Very excited to be able to talk to him. All right, so then okay, so now we're going to do Volt 2 in this case. Okay, Are you going to come back here? Okay, we're going to go back here. We're going to do Vault 2 and do the exact same thing, okay? And hopefully we're going to get something interesting out of that. So now we see the encryption successful. We see password over here, okay? So that's a password that we need to keep in mind for sure. Okay, and then we're going to go back here, put into our own stuff for password admin 123. Okay, well, that's just a little bit differently said. And then come back here and do again the same thing, but now we're going to do it for number 3. And I need to go get my password. That's the last time we need it, I swear. And then press enter. And then we have another potential password over here, right? That's something we could potentially give it a try. Go back over here into our notes and then just put that there. Okay. So there's multiple places that we could enter that. We could give it a try with some of the services that we discovered earlier. But obviously right now, just for the sake of not losing too much time, we're going to just step a little bit ahead so we can have our special guest to be able to speak a few words with us very soon. Let's come back here. Let's reactivate our session over here. Press enter. Okay. So now we're going to have our web page that's going to show up anytime soon. Perfect. We're going to go into configuration management and give it a try. Always, when you find a password, especially in Hack the Box, always keep that in mind and try them somewhere else, right? Always think about that. Otherwise, you're going to get screwed if you don't think about it. And you just try and says like, oh, yeah, but it says for SVC underscore LDAP. Well, if you get a guy that his name is, I don't know, Steve. I don't know why his name would be Steve, but let's say Steve. And then Steve is the one that set that up. Well, he may have been using the same password. So if you try it again, you might be able to get in, right? So always keep that in mind because otherwise it's going to bite you where you don't want it to be. Living the dream, never. All right, so now we go through, and the goal would be to go through the whole selection that we have here. But in our case, again, because we're trying to expedite things, we're going to go exactly to LDAP directories, defaults, then connection. And over here, we're going to be able to take a look and do an LDAP profile, right? We come here, and now what we can do is we can change exactly what's there. Okay, so 636 supposed to be encrypted. So we're going to go 389. The next thing that we can do is, because we don't want encrypted, we'll remove the S. Then, because we can change it, now the best thing that would be for us to do is to put our actual IP address, right? So if we know our IP, it's right there, 10.10.14.187, right? If we know that our IP is there, maybe we can actually take it and then dial it back directly to us on port 389, okay? So in our case, what we're going to do is sudo responder, okay, and dash, I think it's capital I, ton 0, and WRF, I think that's what it is. Enter. Okay, there we go. That's the right one. So responder, what it will do is it's basically like either a poisoner, server, whatever, right? So it will act as such. So basically, if you get a request that goes through it, it's listening right now to all those ports that normally would be used, and I will listen for something very interesting and juicy. So in our case, if I pick this one a little bit lower down, right? I got my LDAP, I click OK, I get my server listening, and then I do a test LDAP profile. Bang. So see, now I have my LDAP in the clear. That's the password. And I see here it's SVC LDAP. So easy enough. I already created it. The reason behind that and responder, like I said, it will basically work as a server. It will say, hey, yeah, I am who you think or who you're looking for. So I need your credential, or I need your hash, or I need something like that so you can authenticate. And then the machine on the other hand is like, oh yeah, sure, here's my hash, bang, right? So that's exactly what's going on. That's why we're able to get those credentials. We could have used something else, right? We could have used something else in this case. If I do it real quick, without going too much in depth, I could have done, let's say, NC, netcat, -LVNP, and then go to 389. All right, same thing, same deal. Well, okay, not permitted. So let's do a sudo because it's probably in the 1000 ports. And then let's come back here. Let's do OK. And then let's do a LDAP. So as you can see here, it's a little bit differently displayed, but we can see here LDAP in the clear, and we're able to decipher exactly what's going on and understand that this is a password. So our next step here, let's do Control C because we don't need that anymore. We're going to do evil dash win rm. Okay, and then hey, I forgot what they were. We can use WinRM. We have the hey, give me a second. I completely forgot the flags. So the best way to take a look at the flags is help. You can start with that. So now we have the I for IP. Can probably use evil dash win rm dash I for authority .hbb, and then we can use dash u for the user, and we saw it was svc underscore ldap, svc underscore ldap. And then after that, we're going to go to a password, and our password was this guy over here. So copy, paste, and then press enter. Let's take a look. Bang. Who am I? IP config. So I see I am this person. So if I do here, desktop, do directory, and then now I can do type user.txt. Press enter, and now I have my hash, right? So now this is the way to be able to get into authority and then eventually get your hash in this case. It's by being able to trick the LDAP to give information directly to a server that doesn't belong to them, right? So if you're able to find those guys in there, that might be a good way to do it. So, all right, so without further ado, I'm gonna get two guys over here. I'm gonna stop my screen for now, and we're gonna get two awesome people in this channel over here. I have Steve and Carl. So since normally what we do is, I should have changed it, foothold and and all that stuff. I didn't realize it. Foothold, okay, we just did that, and now we were going to blue team. So there we go. So very happy to see you guys over here, especially you, Carl. You're our special guest. Normally, we're supposed to move to Steve, but because we have you around right now, we're just going to put Steve on the side for now, on the sideline, and he's going to go on the power play after.
That's Steve. Nothing wrong with winning the bronze, Steve. You're on the podium, man. You're like the George Harrison of the Hack the Box.
Yeah. We I think, I don't know if it's the same thing for with others, but I can hear you just a little bit. Like the sound is not the greatest right now, so I don't know if there's something to improve it.
As you can see, I'm using these ear pods and I don't know how to work them, so maybe I'll pull them out and I'll try to go on speaker.
Yeah. All right. Can you hear us?
Sort of.
All right, put them back then.
How about now?
Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, we want the crowd to be able to hear your beautiful voice.
That was a Grandpa Simpson moment. My son told me to buy a pair of those and get with the 90s. But I appreciate you putting me in backstage in the green room, JF. I didn't realize it was like it's a licensed bar back here. It's awesome. Like, anyway, that's great. Thanks for bringing me out and making me the guest. I got to tell you, the two of you guys collectively are why I do this.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So in a nutshell, can you present yourself like in, I don't know, like in less than 30 seconds? You're on the count right now. Like just present yourself real quick, and then after that, I got a couple of questions for you.
It's a good warning because I'm very verbose, but I draw a diamond of who I am in cyber. I'm Carl Galbraith, recovering CISO. It's been 2 years since my last breach. I've gone high and low, right? So I've been a CISO. I've at Canadian Banknote. I've done R&D at a place called Interset in Uiba as a CTO VPN. I've gone to the professional services side, sucking and licking over at FedGov. Sorry, delete 8 second delay, but PwC, cyber resilience, and I've run a SOC. So I'm that top-down director, SOC bell that kind of showed up and bought the coffee and then kind of ran upstairs and held off all the execs. So those are my four corners of why I matter in cyber. Lucky to be here.
That's good. Perfect. Thank you very much. So if I have to ask you a question, because right now Steve and I are covering a machine and we want to talk about defense and all that. So for you, from experience of being a CISO into an organization or any other leadership positions, how, and even like going through a breach, how do you perceive LDAP and Active Directory being so much of a something that's you need to be secure about, right? Like, how do you think if somebody like a bad actor is able to get access to your Active Directory, how bad this can be?
Am I allowed to swear on this?
No.
Okay, that's an effing good question. Because I'm an insider threat guy. Like that whole UEVA thing is I see everything as an insider threat. It starts outside, works inside, but it becomes all about privilege. And if you're going to play that game in zero trust, never mind security and getting through layers of defense, I would go after identity, because I just want to find the magic skeleton key, right? To the never. If I'm the landlord of an apartment building, I just get in everywhere. Never mind your locks on your doors and your whatever. So to me, Active Directory and its integrity, like not only continuous monitoring, but what is it up to date? And have you got double entries of Carl and people that have left the company and contractors? That's I would spend all my time getting that clean first, because if you're going to do a zero trust journey, you start. I know Steve, he's going to go OODA loops on inventory, but of all the inventory devices and patches and configs and applications, number uno is identity.
Yeah, OODA loops, by the way, it's a military term. I can't remember exactly what it stands for, but it's basically
observe,
you're
orient,
coming back.
decide, act.
Yeah, correct.
And it's
perfect. Thank you very much.
You're an inferior. It's a dogfight in airplanes, and you're the inferior plane. But if you keep doing that, it's the rabbit can outfox the fox.
Yeah, good. Perfect. Do you have a question for Carl relating to this machine, Steve?
Yeah. When it comes to having file shares, and you're in a director or CISO position, what happens when someone brings to your attention that there is a passwordless share just kicking around on the network?
Two things. I changed my pants. Always wear two pairs of pants if you're going to be a CISO. I'm just warning you. You could spill coffee. A lot of things could happen. You got to go to a meeting. And I mean, I work from home. I don't necessarily have to wear pants. Jeff has given me some stipulations on what to wear. But joking aside, I've got this kind of ransomware use case in my head that says what's the easy way in. And to me, like you just went to kill chain number 4 on a DLP or a use case around exfiltration, right? That's the border. You break in, you escalate privilege, you gather a bunch of shit, and you store it in a really easy to leave place. Like if it was a retail store, you're sitting there with a pile of groceries and you're looking around and you're about to run out the exit. That's where you build your safe house, is things like Telnet and FTP sites and certain ports. You're looking for a weak link that you can get out. And so to me, they call it shadow IT. I'm more like Dropbox and Box and all that kind of like I'm a big secure data in motion, data at rest, data in use. And as soon as I'm on the outside and I get visibility to a share site like SharePoint or you name it, I go, that's where we're going to stage the robbery. That's where we're going to like steal everything and put the crown jewels. We're going to put them right there, and then we're going to exit, especially if it's unmanned. What I mean by that is it's devices or servers and routers and things that don't really have a RACI or roles and responsibilities in an admin person. I go, well, so probably there's no EDR, probably there's no continuous monitoring, and no one owns it. So if I get enough privilege and I take it over, I can pretty much camp out.
Yeah, that's good. Good question, Steve. Very good question. So, yeah, I mean, thank you very much, Carl. It was a privilege to have you over here. I know it was a short burst of good information, lots of acronym. So if you guys, if anybody don't know or don't understand one of the acronyms, put them in there. We're there to be able to support you and give you the OODA loop information about it. So we're all here for you guys. So thank you very much, Carl from Galbraith and Associate for stopping by. And then hopefully we're going to see you soon again.
Good to see you,
Thanks,
Carl.
guys. I'll go back to the green room.
All right, sounds good. Have a good one. All right, so Steve, now we're at the next stage of our plan over here. We like we saw exactly like how bad it can be and the reason behind it. So we need to figure out a way to bring the blue team inside and put those perspectives. I know you prepared something for us, so looking forward to see what you have to present for the whole audience over here. So I don't know why I was about to speak French for a second. So without waiting any longer, I'm going to put you back on the stage over here, and looking forward to hear what you have to say about it. So I'll talk to you in a minute.
Beauty. I'll start with one of these days I will have my lab to the point where I can actually show the attack and countermeasures. Slowly and steadily, I've got the Parrot Linux hack box. I just today got licensing for next gen firewall, so I haven't had the chance to stand it up, but it does fit into the equation, and you know, we will get there, and it'll be kind of cool to see both parts in action. For now, I have slides. So let's just talk a little bit about the tactics that JF used. So enumerating services, generally where we start out when it's time to, you know, try to break into a box. We can see SMB, NetBIOS, LDAP, and LDAP-S, Kerberos, etc., which leads us to believe Active Directory domain controller. The questions that kind of pop up, oh, if this is a domain controller, why are we hosting anything on port 80 and 8443? And we find out that yes, there is IIS. Yes, there is this PWM password management software. We dig in, we test a theory to discover that yeah, port 8443 does actually have a login page, but we can't get in easily. And you know, when we can't get in somewhere, we just have to check to find the next entrance, right? I say there's always another way. That pretty much there's always another way till you get to, you know, social engineering and someone just gives you their credentials or clicks the link they're not supposed to. So checking for the open shares revealed the development share that doesn't require a password for access. So that's why I was asking Carl, what do you do when someone tells you, hey, so, you know, we kind of didn't put a password on this share? And the first thing he said was, I changed my pants, because that just makes sense. And, you know, it doesn't have a password, but it does have valuable information inside a config file that contains crackable passwords. So, you know, there's always the upside for the bad guys, not for the blue team. So I blast through those, and then we can chat a bit about countermeasures. So don't let the port scan happen if possible. I think I'll put it out there to the crowd here. Has anyone here tried to say, I want to block port scans and heard the response? And how difficult, if you haven't tried it before, how difficult do you think it would be, or what type of security control would you need to detect or block port scanning. And I'll give you guys a couple seconds. I'm monitoring Discord or the chat, so either way. Okay, so basically, it's really hard to, block port scanning. In general, um, blocking ICMP, yep, that can, that helps you determine whether or not a system is up. Oftentimes, you might find people get upset when ICMP is blocked because then they can't tell. Well, I can't tell if my service is up, and there are a lot of that's actually that could be a long conversation in and of itself. Should we enable ping or not? But the best way to block some sort of a port scan is using like an intrusion prevention system. So nowadays it's just part of a next gen firewall, and essentially there's a signature, right? So you can say, oh, it looks like someone tried to scan the Nmap 1000, let's say. So the 1000 ports that Nmap always scans. Well, we can detect that, and then we can say, hey, someone's trying to do something wrong here, and then if we put it into block mode, then we can actually prevent that from happening. And I've worked behind an IPS in multiple environments, and oftentimes it just doesn't happen. The business case against, you might block something that we need. Well, what's doing port scanning? Well, we don't know, but we might need it. So stuff like that happens, right? And oftentimes, until you have that business case, the technical can't happen. So disabling unnecessary services. When I see port 80 open on an Active Directory box, I wonder why. And sometimes there is like a web front end for LDAP, which, again, why? But still, disable that stuff. Disable anything that you're not using. So IIS in this case, I would just throw in the garbage. And then configuration management policy enforcement, right? So one of the tenets that I've adopted, I don't know, it's been a few years now, is do unto yourself before others can do unto you. So everyone else is trying to find those open shares. You should be trying to find them first, and then have something in place, like some sort of either a response plan or an automation that just shuts them down. Because I can't think of why you would have a passwordless share that someone could gain access to. And I've seen in the past where, leaving default config, leaving no password on an application or a share has led to someone taking over an asset that was managed by our organization, and they essentially started hacking everyone else or attacking everyone else in the nearest vicinity. So basically, we became essentially a bot in a botnet because we simply had something like no password on a specific app that was known vulnerable, especially if you didn't have that password. So configuration management is huge, and policy enforcement. So you need to have a policy that says we can't have shares without a password, and then you have to enforce it. So that is with your red team activities or purple team activities, where you say, hey, I found this, we got to fix it, and then you just do it. We'll move on here. So gaining the foothold. So the way JF was just like, okay, I'm gonna now find all these files, and it's funny because when I saw the scenario, I was like, oh well, but this never happens, and I was like, yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. So people do leave sensitive information unprotected, right? And then people also have vulnerable systems. So at one point, JF was like, okay, I found that this version of IIS is running. I can look for vulnerabilities, or PWM, I can look for vulnerabilities depending on what version it is. We had Nexpos brought up, we had Nessus brought up, OpenVAS, Zap. You can use Burp Suite to try and find any sort of vulnerabilities, whether it's with the application itself or with the back end. You should always be scanning. You should always be trying to find the vulnerabilities and take care of them as quickly as possible. Secure configuration, PWM, that's supposed to be a sad face, but it did not translate well to StreamYard, I guess. So PWM is in configuration mode and is not secure. That literally pops up when you open the application. If I'm the security team and I'm doing regular checks and I find that text, I'm going to be reaching out to whoever manages that box and having it shut down, or at least taken off the network until it can be updated, or not have it accessible. So as JF showed you, anyone who can reach that PWM box can make it their own. Which leads us to essentially our next piece, which is you're not going to cover everything. There's a really good chance you're not going to remediate everything all in one shot, right? So while someone can reach the PWM box, they can make it their own. Generally, it's not a one-shot deal, right? So we saw how JF had a couple attempts. There was actually a section inside the configuration manager that said failed logins, right? So these failed logins is a really great place to look for, oh, someone's trying to log into this who shouldn't be. Maybe I should take it off the network, or maybe I should harden the configuration. Maybe I should finish configuring this box. And if you can't, if there's a chance that you're not able to remediate all your vulnerabilities, but you're able to understand and at least take a look and say, okay, I understand that the following boxes are critical assets or vulnerable assets or sensitive assets, however you want to categorize them. And then we're going to heighten detection measures, right? So with LDAP, there are probably going to be a few failed logons. There's being able to pull all of the information from that SMB share. All of that stuff leaves a log, right? So there are a lot of detection measures that can be put in place. All of those logs should be sent to a SIM, or whatever they're calling them now, just like your logging correlation hub, let's say. So I'll ask a question based off of the countermeasures for gaining a foothold. So countermeasures meaning not necessarily just how do I stop it, but how do I detect it? How do I not let them get away with it, even if they've pulled it off? What would be probably the easiest and therefore the first remediation step taken once this server misconfiguration and the abuse that the server has allowed is discovered? So if we're thinking from an incident response process, how would we, let's say we've detected it, how would we contain, or how would we respond to, depending on what framework you're using, to seeing somebody gain unauthorized access to our PWM console? That's correct. Unplug the computer and go home. That's good, JF. Yeah, essentially, you have to take a look at, that's right. So both of those, isolating the system, right? So this is the containment. You might take it offline. The issue with taking something offline is it could impact your business. It could impact the service that you're providing. Isolating it, on the other hand, might mean you're still permitting. So in this case, it's a domain controller, right, which shouldn't be hosting this application. So it might mean permitting only traffic through to this system for LDAP secure, so that the only thing that can be done with this system, the only purpose for the system, is to be able to authenticate users until you either stand up a backup or clone this virtual machine. Like you would hope that there's more than one domain controller there, and that you could just shut it off, and that all the business would move over to DC2 or whatever you want to call your secondary domain controller. And then you can, once that domain controller is up, if it's still running the PWM, shut off that service. So your isolation, sometimes it's easy. Sometimes you literally just unplug a cable, or turn off a flow, or you manage it somehow to just say, you know what, nobody can touch the system except for the administrator who needs to do artifact collection and response, or even just reimage the system. But when it's something like a domain controller, if that goes down, and that means now all of a sudden you can't authenticate various apps or users or computers, people will start to scream. So taking it offline is optimal, but not always possible. And isolating it is more possible, and does come with a lot of but how. And so that leads to even more discussion, which is useful, and generally ends up with a lot of good lessons learned. So good answers. Let's see. So one of the biggest things here is the PWM service. When you upload a new config, it restarts, right? So knowing that this is a domain controller, everything creates a log, right? So, a service restarted, we should be logging that somewhere. And as someone's modifying your Active Directory, like your Active Directory configuration, or viewing it, or doing something with it they shouldn't, you can use tools like Purple Knight or Ping Castle to monitor your Active Directory configuration, and pull out, oh, I have an alert here because someone messed with an account. Or by proactively scanning, you can say, you know what, if someone did get access to the system, they would have way more privilege than they're supposed to, and they would be able to, enroll new users, enroll new computers, etc. So detection is huge, and when it comes to Active Directory, there are a lot of different ways to detect, not just, hey, here's my logs and send them off, but there's also applications that can tie into Active Directory and monitor it in real time, and then send just the appropriate information off to be logged. That's about it for up to the foothold. JF, did you have more that you want to show privilege escalation? And we're short on time, but
no, we're still
job?
good. I scheduled it for 3 hours.
Oh, for 3 hours, perfect.
Yeah, so we're good to go, unless people are like, yeah, I gotta go. But I mean, like, we're here. I knew this machine was going to take a little bit longer, so that's why I decided to schedule for a little bit longer, and starting at 6 and finishing at 9. Hopefully, it works for everyone. But I think there's lots of stuff that can be learned and leveraged out of that, right? So that's for sure. And I think we should try to find a questions for the audience to be able to get another 1 month free from Hack the Box. Is there one question that you have to ask, you'd like to ask the audience right now, and then we can move on, and the first one to answer the questions can get it?
Yeah, it's actually about detection and logging. Because this is a Windows box, the Active Directory server, if I delete the logs, is there anything that I can still use on that system to detect that someone did something wrong?
All right, I'll let them think, and then whenever you see the first person to say it, just like just stop me there, and then say we just found a winner, Ganya, Ganya, winner, winner, chicken dinner,
Winner,
right? Something like
Ganya.
that, right?
So Firebird 34 has responded event viewer. So event viewer is where I will find what I'm looking for, but what will it say? Because if I go into event viewer and clear all the logs, what happens next?
Great question. Is this the good place if I'm from Quebec? Well, I mean, like, it depends. I'm from Quebec as well, right? I was born and raised in Quebec, so it does not stop me. I live in Ontario now, but still a good place. Sorry, diverge a little bit from the question, but you're at the right place for sure. Even if you have the Cali logo, that's fine.
Boom.
All right,
Ruben
so,
locked it in.
Ruben. So winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Yes, sir. Winner, Gagnon.
All right, so I'm taking
there's
your
an event ID for logs deleted.
Yeah, exactly. Good. All right, so Ruben, just make sure you reach out to me on Discord. If you take a look directly into the descriptions of this video, I think there is the invite for the Discord if you're not already in, right? And then I'm Malvik, the admin. So you just have to take a look at the very top on the right of Discord, and you should be able to contact me directly. All right, and then at the end of this event, I will distribute those ones. I have one more left for a 1 month VIP plus on Hack the Box for free. And then I have the last question that I reserve for the end, right? And that's going to be for the 12 months.
Nice.
All right, Ruben. Perfect. Sounds good. All right, so let's move along. Okay. So we have an hour and 10 minutes, so we're gonna try to not just hang around too much just for fun. I mean, like it's fun chatting. I mean, at one point we should also, and I'm thinking about it, we should probably invite somebody from the audience. That'd be cool, and then be able to chat with them. Yeah, and chat with them and stuff like that. I think that'd be something very interesting to do eventually. And then I'm also thinking like, let me know if that's something you like to see. I'm also thinking about like at one point going on an active machine, right? Do a a Hack the Box Ottawa meetup, but for a full day, right? So we get onto an active machine and everybody has access for free because that's how it is, right? And we start hacking through it, right? All together at once. And there's like, because this is an active machine, there's no write up, there's no information out there. We're not going to go for an insane machine. We're going to go for an easy one, right? But just the fact that we can collaborate together and have fun, that could be very interesting. We can do it either here on YouTube or on the Discord channel, right? So that's something very interesting. So let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see in the future. And if keep coming, and then you guys are interested, I mean, like I'm all up to be able to provide you the chance that you could have to be able to do that. And maybe get a that'd be great. Getting a 12-month subscriptions to the Academy, that could be another great thing. I could probably ask Hack the Box eventually if we're able to make it work, right? So I mean, no promises here, but that could be cool. I'm gonna try. All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, Steve, for this little part there. And then we're going to move on to the next part of the video. So I'll see you a little bit later. Well, I got to kick this one out and kick you out now. All right, see you later. All right, so now we go back to our machine. Am I able to make it a little bit bigger on this side here? No, it seems that's the max I can do. Okay. All right, so now we are back into the same spot. You can see I did not change anything. I'm into the same location. We can do a, well, I should have done time before, but, oh, is it time? No, it's something else. I forgot what it is. Time, it's on the terminal. I can do that, but this guy here is not going to work. Okay, so we're going to put it here, right? Obviously, this is not, oh, it's get time. That's right. It's PowerShell. Or get date, get time, get date. Get date. There you go. So we can see the time. You can see it's the actual machine. All right. So as we were going a little bit earlier, we saw some of that information. We have ADCS for certificate something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but obviously at this point, since we have some sort of like certificates platform, we could start taking a look and figure it out if there's any certificates in place that it's there. And that certificate basically could be potentially vulnerable, right? So one of the things that we can do sorry, I apologize. Then we can take a look is, let's say, pip3, we're going to install a certpy. Certpy, is it AD? I think it's AD. So press enter and then hope for the best. Okay, there you go. So we got it at this point. And from this point on, the next step we need to go through is trying to figure it out if there's like anything interesting that could be found directly there, right? So the next step we have to do is the certify, okay? And we're going to do a find, and the user is the one we had, SVC underscore LDAP, I believe, and we have the authority.hdb, and next step that we need to do is put the password in. All right, password. Did I save the password? No, that's not the one. That wasn't the other one. See, that's what happens when you don't have your password saved into your notepad. You go back and sometimes you realize, oh no, I took down my, what's it called? Not help. I skipped it. There you go. Like if you have your terminal and then you forgot to actually save it, you might just lose everything, right? So you may have to go back and do again the same thing, and that's something you're going to try to avoid as much as possible. Okay. So in this case here, we found it. It was already there. We put our password over here. We're going to keep going into pointing out exactly the DC IP, which one it is. I got my IP over here. This is the IP of the machine that we're actually using. I don't know if I could have used authority.hdb, so that's a very good question. So it's here as well too. So either way, no big deal. And what we're looking for is the vulnerable, okay? And then press enter. All right, so it's taking a look, is getting information. We got access denied for that. Maybe we can give it a try again. Is there anything trying to get certificate authority via getting error? Access denied. Denied. Let's give it a try again. Access denied. What do we have that might be wrong over here? LDAP, clear DCLDB, vulnerable. So it should technically work. Maybe I made a typo over here a little bit. So let me just see if we can get it done. It should be working. Access denied. Either way, let's move along and let's see what it is. So he gave us also a bloodhound data, which is very interesting because whenever you get bloodhound and then you put it in there, that could be very interesting on how far you can go. So PWD, where I'm at, oh, that's Malvik, so that's probably not the best place again to do. Do it one more time and see if we're going to get different results. The other time, sometimes what it could be is it, yeah. What it could be is sometimes like those underscore could be an issue. So you could just do that and this and give it a try. So in our case, it doesn't seem to make any difference whatsoever. So not too much of an issue. We're gonna keep going and take a look if it creates more in the future. And that's something that could be done potentially, right? Good. All right, so now our next step, okay, is to take a look at our stuff. Like, do we have anything that's interesting into this file that could be good? LSLA. And we have a cat, this one, and take a look at some of that information that could potentially be interesting, right? Because we're getting information from the certificate authority, right? The CA, authority CA. We have that information there, authority.authority.htb. Keep going. It could be administrator over here, right? That's the owner. We have domain admin, but what is very interesting in this one is this guy here, the enrollment rights, right? We have domain computer. And oh yeah, that's the Corp VPN. So that's a template. So we have the template that's important, that's interesting information. So we're going to take that, copy it, and then put it into our save file over here. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing also with the domain computer, right? Because this one could be interesting on providing information and so on to something else potentially. Okay, so we have those two. Now, the next step would be for us to take a look as well. We have domain computers, but are we able to create a computer on the actual place, right? And use that to our advantage. So that's something we're gonna take a look at. Are we able to do that? One of the tools that we can use to be able to find out is the crack map exec, right? So that's one of them that is very, very good. And the protocol we're going to use is LDAP, okay? Authority.htb. Okay, hold on. My thing is not working fine. I want to put myself back into authority just in case people are writing. And then the thing is, I should probably also paste that other lines. I'm quite sure you guys like to see exactly what I've done, right? So I'll just paste them in a second, and then you can replicate it on your own turf, basically. All right, let's keep going. So now I did crap map exec. I'm going to use the same service, the SVC _ LDAP. Okay, and then the next thing could be our password, right? In this case, that's something that could be very much appreciated by the system to have. We have our password saved over here, which is this one. Copy and then paste. We're going to do this. And then we're going to look for the, how do you call that? Is the maximum allowed, I forgot the name of it. It's the maximum allowed computer or something like that. That's there, and that's exactly what this one will basically do. I'm trying to figure it out. The machine account quota. There we go. I just thought about it. Yeah, thank you, Steve. So we're gonna find out exactly. No, it's the machine. No, maximum allowed quota was the machine account quota. Yeah, it's the machine account quota. So you were very close. You're not gonna get your free month. All right, so we press enter, and then now we start taking a look. Initializing, journaling, SSL. It's crack map exec, copying default files. Module not found. So this one, wow, two different things that seems to be having issues, or MAQ. Oh, I forgot the flag. I put down MAQ, but I did not put the flag here, right? So M, and then press enter. That's why it doesn't find it. So we have a machine quota of 10, and you can see here it's actually written this way, right? So we know we have a little bit of space, a little bit of gap to be able to do something. Just to give you an example, also what we could do, just for the sake of it, right, is we could also change LDAP to SMB. We could change LDAP to something else. If we had, let's say, an IP range, we could have used it to be able to go through that IP range and try that username and that password in two different machines and see if we're able to get further. Let's just for the sake of it, because we know we have SMB, we know we have a little bit of maybe not MAQ is good for this one. Let's take it out. Let's see if it's going to work. It's going to give us any information. So in this case here, it seems that signing true, false, or we're not getting, like, it's not, normally it would have been saying pwn. Like, I think it's in yellow over here whenever you're able to get directly in there. We could have used, whoops. Something happened, and then they kicked me out of the streaming place. So give me a second. I'll just put my my thing back again. Viewer, share. There you go. All right, we're resumed. Sorry about that. Okay, so basically we're going to go back here. We're going to give it a try to go back over here. We have SMB WinRM. That's where I was going. So I'm going to do a WinRM and then press enter. So, oh, there we go. So you see here, if I'm actually using it, it's going to see Pwn. So if I had about like 10, 20, 30 machine, and I'm using actually LDAP, and I'm doing, for example, I don't know, like we go back over here and we say 10.10.10.2, and then we do a slash 24. All right. So we keep it to about 250 IPs or so. So the slash 24 is going to be staying in that range. It's going to try them all, right? So that's something we could do, and it's going to go through the whole thing. I'm not going to press enter because I don't want to go and do it. If we would be into an environment where there's a bunch of machines, especially if you're doing a CTF and you know that, you could try to like go through the whole thing and try to make it work, and then you would see that Pwn thing here. And once you see that, you know you have something interesting, something juicy. So you may want to try it. All right, so this part is done. Okay, so since now we have the machine quota, okay, we're going to keep going and go a little bit further. Now we added the authority.htb earlier, if you guys remember. We could probably try to check it up as well if we wanted to, okay, and go a little bit further. So now we're going to use that to our advantage. Like what we found there, we're going to use it to our advantage. I'm going to copy my my line here. It's going to be a little bit faster, right? And I'm going to put my IP and explain exactly what we're going to do. 129.168.120. Okay, so now we're going to add a computer with one of our script that we have currently on Python, authority.htb. So that's the domain. Okay, this place. And then the next part over here, that's the actual username that we're using. We're going to use the method LDAPs, okay, to create the computer name evil01. We could have named it whatever we wanted. It could have been hacker01. That's fine too. It doesn't matter. And then the computer password to be able to access it. So strongest password is in there. And now we see the DCIP, and then 10.129.168.120. That's the IP of the location where we go. I'm going to press enter. And at this point here, we have the machine, and now we need to put the password, copy, paste. So successfully added the machine account evil01 with password, strongest password, right? So because we have access to these things and we know how we can try to leverage this, this is a way to do it. So we're going to keep going over here. Next thing, we're going to use certify to be able to go on that like with that computer machine that we actually created, and then go even further to be able to extract some sort of like certificate, right? So then next thing over here, again, this is a very long one. So I said I was going to copy them in there. So I'll just do this one here, and then my machine just kind of screwed up earlier, so that's why I was completely gone. So certify, we're going to do a request username evil01, which is what we just created. The password is strongest password, right? On the authority-ca. So if you remember earlier when we were taking a look at the certificate, or at least the information for that, sorry, the authority-ca, it was there. We're going to use the DCIP. Now we need to change it because it's not the same one, 129.168.120. That's very important to have the right one here. It's 129.168. 68120, and then we have the template corp VPN, right? If we remember here, I took the template name corp VPN. We have the enrollment rights, which was again this thing. So that's the reason why we're able to do it. And then I'm going to press on enter. Let's take a look at what's going to be happening. So it's going to request the certification, and then now we have an issue, right? It seems that the host is timing out. Sometimes that happens, we do it, it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and then you try it again, and then it works. So those type of script, you just have to think about it. Sometimes it's they're finicky, right? So just play a little bit around with it. Okay, so I said I was going to share my command lines. I just did. So give me a second. I'm going to put them there onto Discord. I have to go through 3 different screens to do that. All right. Whoops. Oh, that's one did not save. So we're going to get this one here. So if you guys are following along, at least it's going to be a little bit easier as soon as I put them all there. Okay. Next one. So I'm going to do them in order. I had this one. That's going to be going over here. Sorry, you guys don't really see it, but I'm making sure that everybody has access to that information. Won't be too long. You guys have any questions in the meantime? Because obviously, can be somewhat interesting to take a look at what I'm doing while I'm copy pasting. I should have probably prepared this earlier and give it to you. Was there anything else that could be? Oh yeah, this one. This one, and that should be it. You guys, like everyone should have enough after this to be able to pretty much copy and paste one after the other to do them all, right? So now lights, put them here. There we go. Sorry. All right. Sorry for the long waits. Good. Let's move on. Okay. So now at this point, this is one of them that I've had issues with sometimes, right? With trying to take a look at the PFX that we just extracted over here, right? And be able to get the TGT, the ticket going to the ticket granting ticket and trying to get something out of it for us. A lot of times it creates issues and you need to have the right time and all that stuff, right? So I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about and you're going to see exactly what could be happening, right? Is it going to work? Oh, it's doing debug now? Oh, yeah, 0. So let's see. So no route to host, resolve. Oh yeah, so it's trying to resolve there. Is there anything else that could be certified PFX off debug? Okay. Trying to see if there's anything that could be done for us to be able to make it work. Okay, so now we're seeing that's found multiple identification certification. Okay, so we're gonna need to extract some of that information in there, okay? So the way that I see this, it's not exactly working the way we want, and then we extract information and try to see what we can do with that, okay? So in this case, we're gonna go a little bit further down the road. and going to do a pause the cert. Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to start taking a look and making sure everything is working up to what we would like to get it done. Okay, so now if I do a pause the cert over here, it's this guy, and we're going to do a search, pass the cert, press enter. I see pause the cert over here. Take a look at that information. We see Python. There's the Python cert there. Like, it's easy enough. We could just take the Python ultimately and make it work, right? So do a git clone and then just do that. So let's give it a try with this. I do that. We can even like do it raw. Like, that's another thing too you could do, or wget. Okay, so now we see wget. There's so many different like options, and again, it all depends on how you want to do things. And ultimately, if you do a something specific and it doesn't work, you have to, like, you need resources out there to be able to go and pass the data one. So the way I'm doing it now is wget. Okay, and then I'm pasting this, and it will basically go fetch that information, and it has to be raw. If you don't do it raw, it's going to download the actual web page, right? So by clicking raw, it's only text, and that's all we need in this case. So now if I come back here, I press enter, we see here we're pulling that information. So if I do an LA and a cat on pass cert.py, we see there's lots of information. The code is all there, right? And should be normally well written enough to make sure it works fine, right? Okay, so now our next thing is we're going to use that specific what's it called? That specific location. Well, that specific Python code. Okay, and we're going to go a little bit down the road. So can I use? Yeah, I can use this. Okay, perfect. So if I go and pass the certs here, because we're at the same location, we're going to leave it like that. We need to change our IP. And by the way, as you're building up your notes, right, that's something very good you should keep in mind, is the fact that as you keep your notes, if you see important commands, try to put them somewhere else into a place where you know you're going to be able to extract them again, right? Because you're probably going to have to do it more like time and times, and sometimes trying to figure it out, how did you do it again, it might be hard. So if you have some of those commands, try to keep them in mind. And the same thing I've done, like I put them onto the Discord channel, just like go ahead and do it, but like into your own notes. All right, so now we're going to do a pause the cert. We're going to the DC where we were at. Oh shit, I'm realizing I forgot to do the extraction of that other stuff. Yeah, I skipped one. I skipped one step over here on my stuff. I need to use OpenSSL. My bad. Sorry, I skipped part of my stuff over here. So let's do a Control-C, Control-V. Okay, so we're using OpenSSL to be able to extract, and that's exactly what I said I was going to do earlier, and I skipped one of my stuff. So what we're going to do here is do a out of administered key, okay, and then press enter. The import is blank. The PEM pass is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm the one entering it, right? So it's not necessarily something that's specific to this file. So you can see here I actually entered them. Then the next step here is to get the other part of the actual cert, or the whole mechanism that needs to be done there. Okay, so we have again the same thing: administrator authority.pfx that we had earlier. We had cl cert, no keys, outs, administrator.crt. Press enter. Again, I do not put anything into this place. Press enter, and that's it, right? And then we'll move on. Good. Now we are at pause the cert. So now we can go there, and it's going to make more sense, because I was like, oh, I realized I did not even pass, or I did not even extract those things yet. So there's no way in hell that, excuse me if you don't like this word, but we're going to go back here. But there was no way that this -crt that I have here and then the next one, the key, that it would work because there's no file that was there with this. So that's the reason why that it would not work for sure. So 168.120, and now we're going to use it and press enter. As the cert. Oh yeah, I gotta change that too, because I have the Python script right here, right? So now I'm going to use it, and hopefully we're going to have this to work. No routes exists. Is there something? Let me check if that machine is still up. Ah, that machine is not, the machine went down on Hack the Box. So let me spawn it again. So that's the reason why we were getting no route to that host. So I'm starting the machine again. The IP might change, so we might have to just retract and then just like go back up and do it again, and that's going to be fine. So that happens sometimes. Those well, it's quite rare, but it happens sometimes. Those machines that eventually they shut down, and then we have to do it again. But in the meantime, it gives you a little bit of time to catch up to where I was, and hopefully that you guys understand. Is there any questions? I see that I see Nicola laughing right now, but that was a little while ago. You guys have any questions so far? I mean, I know it can be a little bit confusing, right? Because that's something we don't quite often do. We get to the machine, we try to extract some information, but we have access right now to the service LDAP. So that's something that can be easily exploited at this point. The machine should be up very soon. Let me refresh my page. It's still spawning. Sorry about that. Yeah, so basically that's what it is. Maybe I love it. I don't usually go for the cert. Yeah, well, I mean, like, I don't know how much experience. Like, how many? Like, have you done pen tests in the past, Nikota? That's I think that I'm responding to this comment over here. You have experience in there, or this is basically like for you, just fun doing Hack the Box and then doing some hacking or something like that? Is that something that you do normally? Curious to know. Because obviously, like going through the cert is something normally most people won't do, and the experience that required to be able to get this done normally is a little bit higher at that point. Still waiting for that machine. I'm a bit new to the area, but I've been watching IPSec for 3 years. Well, you know what? IPSec is very, very good. Obviously, like he's doing a script, and then there's a little bit of well, not so much video editing. The guy knows so much, right? He's been doing it for so many years at the same time that he knows the ins and outs, but he has also time to be able to play with them. Fun fact as well, he's like, if you guys know him, he's an employee of Hack the Box, right? He's creating machines and content and so on. So I don't think we're going to see him anytime soon, but that's something I'd like, if we can eventually, to get him on for a little bit. That could be cool. Okay, good to know. I'd say at this point, I need to put time into doing boxes myself. Yeah, that's the main thing. How many machines do you have you done yet? And do you have a pen testing cert yet? That'd be my question to you right now. While I receive my my new IP. So, because we're gonna have to go through it again a little bit, unfortunately. So we do LDAP over here. Oh yeah, I need to first. Good catch, JF. Sudo nano, and we need to change our Etsy host, because if you don't change it, those IP won't work well. That IP won't work well. So this is my new IP that I've been provided, right? So now I'm going to save it and go there. Only for, but I did it when I was in Cégep, kind of college. Yes, 2 years ago. I'm getting back into it. Good. I mean, like, Nicola, like, you're more than welcome to join us every time. And then I'm trying to be as active as I can on the community, on the platform, and whatever I can get for you guys free, I'll try to get it as much as possible, right? So that's my pledge to you on trying to improve the whole thing here, especially in Canada. And again, if you need the sessions in French, I can do them in French as well. All right, so let's go back over here. We got this one vulnerable. I just want to make sure I do it properly because obviously we're going to need to make sure everything is fine. Certify fine, vulnerable. Okay, so it finds this. We shouldn't have to do much about it. Enter. Access denied, but we're getting that file. And we could have reviewed it again, which is fine. And we're not going to review it because we know that it should be good to go normally. Oh, I should probably delete that file there, so there's no confusion between the two, because I need to go and get it again. Oops. It's RM, I believe. There we go. So now it's gone. Okay. What was the next step? Because we need to go back into where we were at, because we're going to need to add the computer there, which is not done. Crap. Okay, that's good. So now we need to do it here. Create this guy over here. Go back to our file. Paste it there, enter, we're good. Okay, so we created the machine. Once we create the machine, I'm just gonna go back here. Once we create the machine, no, sorry, I apologize about this. Sometimes things happened and this one was not fun. All right, so now we're gonna debug, Control C. Control C, there we go. Put this one there. We're going to take a look. Authority, we have the IP there that we need to change again. It's 63201. Whoops. 2963201. Template, corp, administrator, enter. There we go. You're welcome, Nikoda. All right, that one, again, we need to do it again if you remember. Right, so now we have the administrator and then authority.pfx, right? So this is where we're going to start extracting information out of it. So now I'm going to remove the, what was it again? LSLA. We have rm admin dot crt and then admin dot key. There we go. So we're going to remove these ones because if we keep them there, it might override it, but I just don't want to take a chance and just get rid of it, right? So at this point, we're gonna move on and then go to the OpenSSL right now. I have it here real quick. Yeah, so that's one. Enter, and this one, import no password 1234 as a passphrase. Verify 1234. Enter, and then the next one, that's going to be the SSL and CRT. Okay, same thing, but this one I have no password. Press enter, and that's it. There's nothing that has been entered over here. Our next step, there we go. Our next step from this case over here, because we extracted those files, is to use our Python cert, right? And then go directly on that machine. Not going on that machine, technically speaking, right? But we're going to go on the LDAP and then start having fun with it. We have authority.htb, and then we need to change the IP address alongside the location of the Python script, right? So now here it's 63.201, 63.201. Go back over here, pass cert, Python, pass cert.py. We have the right IP. We use the cert we just extracted with OpenSSL. We have the key, and we are again removed from OpenSSL. The domain, we wrote it down, port 636, action, rights, RBCD, delegate authority, and then delegate authority to this one. Passphrase 1234, if I'm not making a mistake. As long as I can count, I should be able to do it. Well, count. Count up to 4. All right, so okay, so now we see the attribute has been allowed. Everything has gone through. We are allowed to go even further into to our script right now. Okay, there's one thing that you may need at one point, and that's something that I had to deal with in the past, right? And that's why I'm going to tell you at this point is you may have issues with synchronizing your actual machine with the LDAP. So if you're following along and you have that issue, I will basically give you something for free where you're going to be able to use it, right? So that's install the RDate and then doing a synchronization with the LDAP. So I'm going to put it into the Discord channel. Again, that's another, well, it created, okay, so hold on. For whatever reason, it decided to create just a picture of the file or the text I wanted to copy. So this is what I wanted to copy here. Let's copy it again and then put it here on the Discord channel. There we go, and then press enter. Okay, so I'll just run it. I don't think it's going to do anything bad, right? So at this point, I think it's still relevant for you to actually see it. I found that because I had issues with another machine to be able to get it through. And if I press enter and install this, right, it goes through the whole scripts. I don't have to do anything else. I let it install. And then here, I just have to ask it to do a synchronization, right? So hopefully I did not screw up anything. I'm going to do authority. I'm assuming I can just write this down like this, HTTP, and then press enter, and then bang, our time is synchronized directly with the other machine. And that's how I was able to bypass that. So if you see you have an issue and it says that your clock is queued, just do this, and then you're going to be good to go. Right. So keep that in mind. All right. So now if we keep going a little bit further, we did our script, we did everything pretty much. Now what we need to do is to get the ticket, right? So let's do a get ticket over here with impacted. All right, it's coming up. And I'm going to paste it here. So here we have InPacket. InPacket is basically a suite of different scripts that will do magic, right? So if you're not familiar with it, go take a look at it. Normally on most Kali Linux, I think they are available on Parrot OS as well as available. It's definitely available onto this machine that has Parrot OS, but on Box, basically by Hack the Box. So yeah, so in this case here, what we're going to do is we're going to impersonate administrator, right, and start giving it authority, like ultimate authority, basically for administrator in this case. And we're going to go get some information. So we have the administrator.cache, right? That's there. So we saved the ticket. And basically now what we need to do is to actually save it, right, into our cache so we can basically use it. So do a copy. And then now we're going to export this following tickets to its key RB, 5 CC name. And then it's equal this. Let's press enter. So hopefully I did not make any mistake. And then our next step is to be able to start dumping the, like basically going in there, identify us as admin, and then dump the NTLM hash. Okay. So if we do that, and we use again another part of it in packet, right? So we're going to paste it here. So in this case here, we're going to dump the hash. I'm going to show you something else afterwards, what we can do as well to be able to go a little bit around. But this one here, it's only dump the DCMTLM. We're going to press enter, and then it's going to go directly on the domain controller, dump the hash, and then now we have the hash of the administrator. Okay, so I'll show you real quick that it works, and then after that, I'll come back, and then I'll show you something else that could have been done a little bit differently if you're not able to dump the hash straight up and you want to try to do a couple things left and right. Okay, so now we do another evil dash win RM, and we have the, I think it was authority dot HTTP, and then user, I think I have to go to administrator, trader, because I have the hash, I think it's capital H, and then bang, bang. Is that what it is? Let's try it. Maybe. There you go. Who am I? I'm the administrator. If I do cd dash desktop, enter, do dir, and then I do a type root.text, I am actually root or administrator directly. Okay, so that's one way to do it. And if it works, right? But if it doesn't work, that's what it is. And as you can see, like I did not even need to create that hash. That hash over there was just there, and I used it, and I just passed the hash over there to the system, which takes it, right? So that's an issue. And I'm quite sure Steve will talk about it and say how bad this can be to allow or not capture a system being able to pass the hash this way around, right? So there is mechanism in place that you can put to be able to defend yourself against it. And I'm quite sure Steve will talk quite in depth about it. So let me do a exit right now real quick. Let's go back over here to this one. No, not this one. It was this. I think, okay, hold on. I wrote it somewhere because I thought it was something that was very interesting. I needed to give it a try with you guys. I think, is it just this? Where am I mouse? Okay. Trying to remember if it was just this. Okay, policy, just DC users. Now there's something else I wanted to show. Hold on, if you can allow me 1 second. Oh, it's action LDAP shell. Okay, there you go. Dash action LDAP dash shell. Is it action LDAP dash shell? Oh, that's not the secret dump. That's not what. That's hold on. That's the other one before. In packet. That's pass the cert. As a cert here. And then, yeah, so we have to remove up to port 636 because we're not automating that whole thing, right? And we're going to do LDAP shell. LDAP dash shell, enter. 1, 2, 3, 4, enter. Let's see if it works. Okay, there we go. So now I'm LDAP shell, okay, and we can see here, we can decide to add computers, right? So, oh, and then password. Oh, so you can actually do it. Add username and then parent, add username to group, change password user. So see, we can, like, we're able to do a bunch of stuff. So if we wanted to add user, so add underscore user, and we could do hacker, press enter, attempting create hacker and password. Oh, so we see the password over here. So we created it. So let's give it a try. And oh yeah, I guess we need to go a little bit further down. Okay, so now we have this. And the next step would be to add user to group. Oh yeah, add user underscore to group, and user to group is the user and then the group. So now we have hacker. Going to go to administrators. I think that's what it is. Okay, perfect. So now let's do another shell over here just for fun. Evil-winrm and i30.htb. And then we have the user hacker with password. Do I have it still? Yeah, I do. Hopefully it works. I think that's it. Let's see if it works. There you go. So who am I? Hacker. Who am I? All. And we see a bit more information. User claim to know. Like it seems that we're part of the administrator group. So am I able to go to // okay, so city administrator, whoops. City desktop, and then their type root.txt. So see, I'm able to see it. And then if I do a net user hacker, do I need to put domain? Okay, no. What you see here, group membership, I'm an administrator as well. So it's easy enough to be able to do it this way if we wanted it, right? So there's two different ways to actually achieve this. As soon as you get in there, and then you can try to extract the hash and then do it. But in this case, right, we were able to just create our own user and then create, like make sure it's part of the administrator group and then go even beyond. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this part. I mean, this is very interesting. This is something a lot of times you have to be creative. Again, I'm going to say it so many times. There is so many ways to be able to do something that if you don't know one way, you might learn a new way. And then if you go even further than this, you're also going to like to bash your head on the wall so often. I mean, right? You're probably going to smash your head on your keyboard a couple times. It could take 2 days to be able to achieve this. Right now, I took probably like about 2 hours or so to be able to get it done. I did stumble upon a couple things at the same time. Some were intentional, some were not intentional, but it shows you a little bit sometimes of the thought process that can be required to be able to go further down the road, right? So now we did not even log in as administrator. I logged in into a different account. And I'm quite sure our friend Steve's going to say it was not part of the script. So now I got new stuff for you guys to add on my slides. So that's another way to actually do it. So on this end, I will add Steve to the mix. Yeah, Steve. So how did you that little thing? Right, that little escape route. That's if you're trying to do something, it might not work, or if you don't want to log in onto the administrator because you don't want to trigger the scene, that could be an issue, huh?
Yep, definitely. and yeah, at that point, once the attacker is, wily enough, I guess I could say, that they have those kind of escape routes and they can get around a lot of your countermeasures. Or detection measures, I should say. The only real thing you can try and do is replicate that as quickly as possible and defend against it. Like,
Yep. Oh, we lost him. Oh no. Maybe same issue as me earlier. We lost your camera. So at this point, right? If you're trying to take a look at that, and from what Steve was saying is, if you're a hacker and you're trying to get into, like, I'm saying a hacker, a penetration tester, if you're trying to get in there, what would be the best thing to do to not get seen? That's probably one question I could ask you, right? To give you another month at this point, because I think I have 1 month left. That will give you VIP plus. So the question again, what's in oh, power outage. So we got Steve that has a power outage. So hopefully he's going to come back soon. I'll take him off for now. Remove from stage. So hopefully his power is going to come back. So what a penetration tester should do if it creates a new account to make sure it does not get detected as much as possible from any tools that there is over there. There is a couple of things. There's one specifically thing I have in mind. So hopefully the first person to be able to describe it there is going to have the right answer right away. If it's not the right answer, I might try to guide you a little bit towards the right one. And that's again for a 1 month free subscriptions of Hack the Box VIP plus 1 month. Do we have an answer? If you create an account as a penetration tester and you don't want to get found, what should you do? Well, the defense evasion, yes, there is that. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. Like you're actually creating your account, the account, right, for you as the penetration tester, and they're not supposed to know. So defense evasion could be part of kind of the mix, but let's say we're past that now. We're able to like hit the enter command, or the enter key, sorry, onto our keyboard, and as soon as I press enter on my key, it will create the account. Yeah, so I see here Kid Quick says don't create it with the username hacker. That's what it is. That's not exactly the answer I'm looking for. There's a little bit more in depth, but yes, don't create it with the username hacker because obviously you're just giving it out. Do we have another answer somewhere? I'm gonna move Discord a little bit closer so I don't have to like basically get a whiplash almost from trying to look on the other side. Add 255 blank character. No, it's simple. Okay, so I'm gonna give you another. I'm not sure. That's a very good question that I would need to verify. And that's something we could potentially take a look with Steve eventually and try to get a like a live lab, and we could test it out. So keep that in mind. Veloci trace trace Veloci trace. Sorry, I'm French, so might be wrong. So it's a 2-word thing. I'm looking for 2 words. If we start in English, the first letter of the word that I'm looking for, like one of the first 2 words, start with N. The second, or yeah, so the first word start with N. The second word start with C. Do we have a taker? Start with naming convention. There you go. Perfect. So take a look at the naming convention of the actual organization. So if they're doing first name, like and then last name, try to mimic something like this. Try to find a word or a name that's very close to the others. So if there's like 2 John Smith, you could potentially try to get a third John Smith in there, right? And maybe just change add a number because it's going to blend in, right? Exactly. So if it blends in into the whole thing, it's going to be much harder for someone to actually catch that. So it's the same thing as like when we think about those emails like phishing attempts, right? They're gonna a lot of times they're gonna try to have a a name, like a domain name that's very, very similar to the one that is normal, right? And if that's the case, and that person is trying to get access to it, well, to click on it, well, then they get phished at that point, right? So that can be a big issue. And that's the thing. That's something you want to try to avoid as much as possible, is to get caught from this. So we have Steve's coming back, but we'll give him 2 minutes to be able to set up his stuff again, just to get ready. But I'll keep going. So really, the naming convention is the way to go. You want to try to mimic the same thing as what you're getting pretty much on a daily basis in your emails, or even onto your what's it called? Onto like your SMS. It's the same thing, the exact same thing. Naming convention. So, and if they have names like Exploiter, Super Cracker, you could use Hacker. Maybe, I don't know. Well, it's up to you to try. I mean, like, if you get caught after that, I hope you have a get out of jail card, right? Especially if you're within the organization, because that could be somewhat annoying, right? So there's that. So yeah, so that's good. Steve, are we good for passing along to you? Yes.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, sorry,
I'll take
I
your
just
name.
flipped the breaker.
Yeah. Say again.
I just flipped a breaker, I guess. My power went out in my office, but nowhere else in the house. Very
That's good.
convenient.
So yeah, so Velocitrays, I will write your name down, or even contact you on Discord, because I see your name. That's where you're responding, right? And I'll be able to give you the third VIP Plus 1 month for free. Keep in mind the 12 months is still up for grab at the end of this stream. And Steve and I will ask you a question. Well, it's probably me who's going to ask you a question. It should be fairly easy, and that's something that happened throughout the stream. So I hope you were there during that time. Okay. All right. Sounds good. So Carl, Steve, I'll let you go along and then have fun with your presentation. Hopefully
Awesome.
you don't flick the breaker again.
Yeah. I had to turn some stuff off.
I promise it's not me. And
Yeah.
hopefully it's not the viewers. Hopefully it's not
Yeah.
the viewers doing that to you and hack your house and don't show me the blue side. It's boring.
Yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
You bet. Awesome. So just a slide to go over the tactics that JF used. So finding vulnerable ADCS profiles, discovered that there is a cert profile where any domain machine can enroll users and computers, and then enrolling a computer using the found quote unquote found credentials, by using the addcomputer.py, and then using pass the cert to pass the cert. So countermeasures, so like privilege escalation, I'm actually going to add another window here, because there are a couple of things we can look at. Really, when it comes to stuff like Privesc and these CA profiles that permit super lax permissions, you really have to keep on top of your config. And with Active Directory, it's not something that is front of mind. I'm not sure how many of you have done a lot of dealing with Active Directory, but it's often something where the administrator or the organization as a whole will say, yeah, we've had our Active Directory for 15 years and we're not sure what's there. We're not sure necessarily how it's configured, because we've had 4 or 5 administrators over the years. So there are tools you can use that can help you identify any sort of Active Directory permission issues, or just something that is being called indicators of exposure. So I thought that my previous employer was the first to use that, but I think it's kind of been a term that's kicking around. So I'm going to just share a browser real quick, just to walk through a couple of methods for understanding what does this look like, how is it done, and how can you defend against it. So we've seen how it's done. JF did a very good job of showing us how we can get those credentials. But using a framework like MITRE ATT&CK is simple. So OS credential dumping, dumping NTDS. The cool thing about this is it tells you, what does that attack mean? Could it be an advanced persistent threat? But even better, it tells you mitigations, right? So how can I stop this from happening? How can I detect it if it's in my environment, et cetera, et cetera? Is anyone here familiar with, and by familiar, I mean, has anyone used like an EDR or an MDR or an XDR or a asterisk DR platform before? Any sort of detection and response, done sort of incident response, forensics, anything like that? I'm just checking both chats here. So, mitigating is great. Putting in, making sure that domain controller backups are properly secured. Local admins have complex, unique passwords so that they're harder to crack. Don't put user admin domain accounts in local administrator groups across systems. And then user training, right? So, Velocitrade is now newish, awesome, hopefully very malleable then. So JF and I can mold new minds. So detection, I'm a detection and response guy. That's where I thrive. So command execution, much like anything that happens on the network, most things that happen on endpoints can be logged. It's just a matter of, are they being logged? That comes down to really, the question. And you can see here's even a sample of a command that might show up, right? That could be discovered. And that's an artifact that you can now use to do further detection. Monitor for access or copy of the ntds.dit. So if you're using any sort of file monitoring, which, used to be Tripwire was kind of like the de facto long time ago, you would monitor that file. And if anything happens to that file, if it changes in any way, shape, or form, then you'll get some sort of an alert, some sort of a log. And you can see here, there's analytics, right? So you go by specific event IDs, so let's just walk through this, I guess. So suspicious file equals file access, where the event ID is 4656 or 4663, which are security auditing. And it's a file, and it's called ntds.dit, and the access list is 4416, which is, I believe that's system. So that's basically, okay, I'm seeing that someone is accessing this file and they're doing something with it, right? And that's where you might have a bunch of little detection rules like this. And this is a very simplistic one. So these are the types of things that you might have hundreds of within your detection and response platform. And it allows you to say, okay, I can see that someone has accessed this file. Might be someone has deleted this file, someone has moved this file, someone has copied this file. You can see all of that stuff, right? And this is just like, so this is the attack framework. So MITRE has attack and defend. So really, when you look at attack, these are all the things that we can do. And has anyone gone through the attack and defend frameworks before, the MITRE frameworks? I know if we're new to the industry, sometimes we've heard about them, but we haven't actually, taken the time to look through a lot of this stuff. But that's okay. This is very much one of those things where if you're looking to do threat hunting, if you're looking to do some sort of detection rules, you can slip into the attack matrix. And then there is, on the other side of things, kind of impressive at first point. Yeah, there's so much to it. And then there's also, like, once you click on one, come on now. I'm clicking on the wrong window because I'm awesome at computers. You can see there's a lot of subcategories, right? And with defend, it's a little bit different, but it's roughly the same. So this is more if I'm trying to prevent JF from, doing what he does. Not that new. Well, that's good. Newish is fine. So if I have to look for like credential hardening, maybe it's something to do with my certificate-based authentication. I can dig in here and see. Oh, wait, okay, that was not the most awesome of items to look at, but we can see here that there is, certificate-based auth, certificate pinning, credential rotation. There's a lot of ways you can, defend, since this is the defend model, against a lot of this, a lot of this, these types of attacks, right? Like, because it's taking all the most common practices and then putting them into one spot where you can say, okay, so this is where I can defeat hopefully 99% of the easy attacks, right? And you can see here there's platform hardening, so that's just your system config permissions, file encryption, local file permissions. There's a lot you can go through, and then each of these does have various elements. So you can see relationships here. So they restrict a user account, and then related attack techniques. So if I'm trying to use default accounts, domain accounts, local accounts, cloud accounts, if I'm trying to remove an account, this is what these permissions kind of all map to some sort of an attack. So these are some of the spots where, if you might want to craft an attack to try and get around, the defend framework, right? Like you might say, okay, application hardening, or you might say, okay, I'm going to look for what are they not doing in this framework. So in credential hardening, what are they not doing? Well, I'm going to take advantage of that, right? So it's kind of like how we reverse engineer malware to create signatures. Well, we can reverse engineer, just the way people reverse engineer or attackers reverse engineer patches to find vulnerabilities, right? So this is kind of the same sort of deal. So that's why it's purple, right? It's not, red and blue. You're kind of doing the same thing. You're both trying to reverse engineer the attack to create the defense and reverse engineer the defense to create a new attack. And I see that we're pretty much at time, but the last thing I want to show is just the example I'm using here is Purple Knight because they have a pretty cool security indicators breakdown. So if there's something with your AD infrastructure, so AD certificate authority with web enrollment, so that's a critical severity finding. So this is stuff that you might be looking for, right? And then anonymous access to Active Directory. Like, why would you have that? Certificate templates that allow requesters to specify a subject alt name. So there's a lot of stuff around, certificates, around your group policy security, Kerberos security, delegation, and with this platform specifically, it's free, and you just download it and you run a scan, and it tells you what your indicators of exposure are. So it's nothing fancy, but it gets the job done, which is pretty cool. And you can see there's IOE and IOC. So this is indicator of compromise and indicator of exposure. So the exposure just means you're at risk of being compromised, and the IOC means yes, someone's actually in there. So those are a few items you can look at to try and as I said previously, do unto yourself before others can do unto you. And that is the whole purpose of the purple team, right? Like you go in and you do the red stuff, and then you do the blue stuff to fix the red, and you work together. Maybe you have little competitions where you say, okay, I'm going to try and hack in while you try and defend, and then you create your new indicators of compromise or your new detections if you're a detection engineer. Whatever you might pull from the activity benefits both sides. So that's pretty much it for me. I really appreciate everybody's time, and I know I'm sorry for just dropping off the planet like that and then coming back, but it's been good.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you very much for all of this, Steve. It's a big insight to be able to understand exactly some of the tools that are out there, and for us to know like what can we do to be able to find that. Because obviously, when you're on the blue side, there's so many things you need to think about, and it's not easy to be able to figure that out for sure, right? So. By getting either a framework or getting the MITRE ATT&CK or MITRE DEFEND and following it along, it might help us figure it out, like some use cases and so on, and drive our defensive, increase our defensive tremendously for sure, right? So obviously, cybersecurity is not like a one-day deal; it's like a journey.
It's a
A long run.
lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, very much. Yeah. All right, sounds good. So I don't want to hold too many people around. I said I was going to do the give a question to you guys about the 12 months VIP plus 12 months. So I want to make sure that one of you gets it. If you already won something before, I did not give you a code yet, right? So technically speaking, if you win the 12 months because you're the first one to answer the questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off your 1 month and give it to the next person that will answer it right. Okay, so the second person will get a chance to be able to get yours. So you still have a chance to be able to get 12 months, even though you won before. Okay, so everybody understood the concept of it. So I'm going to, I'd like to be only on one platform, so to make it easy enough. So I hope that everybody is on YouTube right now. So if you're on Discord, can you just move? I'll give you a couple of seconds to move around and go on YouTube. So we have one place where we can have the answer, not in two places, because that's going to be hard to be able to find who wins. Because I want the first comment to be, at least in my feed, I want the first comment to be the one that will win it. So 12 months, VIP Plus is basically the equivalent to about $250 or so. So that can be quite interesting. And then you get access to a bunch of stuff. And right now, what we've covered, like with Steve and I, and that's something maybe eventually I should give a little rundown. There's a new thing called Sherlock. And in Sherlock, basically, it's the FIR, so digital forensics and incident response. So there is material out there to be able to practice yourself, PCAPs, and there's like scenarios for you to experiment. There's also reverse engineering as well that can be offered over there, like reverse malware engineering. Make sure that if you do reverse malware engineering, that you actually follow the right guidelines to make sure that you don't get compromised yourself, right? I don't know all the details on this, but there is details on the Hack the Box website on what to do and what not to do. All right, so with this said, I hope that everybody had the time to be able to move over. I apologize if you didn't have enough time, but we'll move along. So now, okay, the first one in my feed to answer these questions will get the 12 months VIP Plus. My question is, we had a special guest earlier, and I slipped also his name earlier. So what is the first name of the person that showed up as a special guest? There we go. We got it. First one. I'm going to show it there. There we go. The Carl. So his name is actually Carl, right? But you got it right. That's the whole thing.
He would always call himself the Carl.
Yeah, Carl. So Kid Quick 23, you're the one that will win or will get the 12-month VIP Plus. Okay, so it's going to be up to you. I think you already you're on Discord, I believe. Yeah, I saw your name there, so I will reach out to you. Let me just write it down. Kid Quick. Okay, so perfect. So I will reach out to all the winners. For Drew Ross, I don't know what's your handle, so please make sure you reach out to me because I think you won. You have also Ruben QC, Velo Citraze, I think, Velo Citraze. So make sure, well, Bill Citrace, I see you there, so you don't have to reach out to me. I'll be able to do it right now. But Drew Ross and Ruben QC, I don't think I see you on the Discord channel. Make sure you reach out to me at Malvik, the administrator. So on this, I hope you guys learn a ton. If you have any suggestions or whatever, make sure you let us know either in Discord, Meetup, or whatever, and we're going to try to accommodate you as much as possible. If there's like special attacks or special defensive stance that you like to see, make sure you you share this with us, and we're going to make sure that we can cover this. Right? We have plenty of resources out there, plenty of people that we know. So we can potentially try to bring them in, and probably try to bring either vendors or something like that that could also maybe show us some demonstration on certain things according to certain attacks, right? Even Steve is willing to also have a little lab eventually if people are interested. So looking forward for the next one. So as much as I want, we still need to talk about the next event. But to me, I'm aiming for, I don't know about you, Steve, the last Thursday of every month. I think that's where we seem to be aiming for. So it seems that that's probably what we're going to do. So if you're looking for the next one, it's probably going to do it, right? For yeah, I think so. I don't think I have anything, so we should be good to go. So either way, we will advertise it as fast as possible on the meetup. So stay tuned, or stay tuned on even the Twitter that we have. I should probably remove his chat over there. You can reach out to us on the X platform and LinkedIn. You can see us at the bottom. So feel free to reach out and have a chat there. So on this, Steve, do you have any last words that you'd like to say before we say bye to our awesome audience that participated a lot today?
Yeah, just that was fantastic participation. Thanks for sticking with us over the marathon, and yeah, it's only going to get better from here. So awesome.
Perfect. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day or night or wherever you are. We love you. Cheers.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.